Live from the Findlay Toyota studio, you're listening to ESPN Las Vegas.
All right, here we go. Cofield and Company on this Monday. It is legal tampering week around the NBA. NBA, of course, front and center here in Vegas, starting up on July 9th with the NBA Summer League. It's Cofield. It's John Von Tobel. It's James. We're in the Findlay Toyota studios. A lot of NBA today. A lot of NBA. More reaction to the Caitlin Clark kerfuffle and what I almost called them the Pacers. The Fever did over the weekend without her. Of course, UNLV football. More news down that path as well. What's up, John?
Nothing much. I do have to say, I know you get mad when I distract right at the beginning, but I feel like I have to get something off of my chest.
Well, it's normal.
Okay.
This is Willie's thing, too.
Okay.
We don't have to be focused all the time. It's summer now. We can do whatever we want.
Okay. Yeah, there's nothing to talk about, as they say.
Yeah. Slow period.
I just want to say that all of you people suck out there. So I stopped at a local Mexican place on the way in.
Maybe a driving issue.
No. I stopped at a local Mexican place on the way in to get some food. It's a place where it's known for or used to be known for its very big burritos. You should hear the way these people talk to these workers. It is absolutely insane. There's no please. There's no thank you. Why don't you put some more rice in that? Like, it's not they're doing their job. You can ask nicely for more rice.
Wait, is this the place they cut down on their portions?
Yeah.
That went real viral?
Yep.
And now you have to pay for double chicken, triple chicken? Yeah, in the end, it's not their decision.
No.
Don't they have to weigh it out?
I mean, they didn't. When I was there, they didn't weigh it out.
But they have a certain spoon, though, right?
Yeah,
they
it's
gotta
a
be
certain
real careful
spoon.
with the spoon.
Yeah, one spoon. I mean, and the person I had was they were serving very well. So, the complaints about that was the thing that I had today was old school, we'll say.
Yeah.
So, but I'm just amazed about the way people interact, the way they talk, the way when you're asking for something, and if they don't understand you because you're not being clear, and the snap, like I said, sour cream on the side. And it's like, dude, I'm so glad I don't work in that because I was very much one that argued. I argued a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell people about your background if they don't remember, because you've been with Cofield and Company for 10-plus years, and at the beginning, before you got here, you did what?
I was a barista at Starbucks.
Yep.
And
maybe the worst of the worst.
Not
Starbies, but the customers.
They're awful. And
I always enjoy the legendary brawls over the cookie straws.
That I never had to experience
cookie
that.
Straws.
One of my two favorites are, when I used to work, because it was for a franchise, whatever the term is, so I was not an employee of Starbucks. I was an employee of Station Casinos.
Okay.
And I was told one time, because we used to charge, or maybe probably still do, the USA Today was $1, right, generally. But at Red Rock, when we charged for it, it was $1.01. Now, generally, I think I can admit this, I'll eat the cent, I'll be a penny short of my drawer. I would let people do it for $1. Unless you were a jerk.
Right.
And so I had a guy come up and throw the $1 at me and grab the paper and go to walk off.
You're like, 101!
So guess who needed
101!
that? Guess who needed that penny that day?
Yep.
I did. Yeah. And the guy, and I said, excuse me, sir, it's $1.01. You can't be serious. No, I'm serious. It's $1.01. And I pointed the screen. Yeah. Threw the newspaper at me. Nah, get out of here, buddy. You don't get your paper. That's fine. Yeah. One dude asked me for 6 sugars in his coffee with extra cream, then came back and told me I don't know how to make coffee. I can't taste it. And I said, you don't know how to order coffee. You asked for 5 sugars and extra cream, brother. You can't talk to me like that. I'm like, do you want my manager's number? I hate people. You guys are awful sometimes.
You'd be big in the viral community now. You see all these fights. People flip out. Like, there's a lot of convenience store and especially fast food people, restaurant workers who are like, no.
Yeah.
No. Not going to do that.
It's just about mutual respect.
Yeah.
I deserve respect as a person. That's all. And you guys are very disrespectful.
I'm glad you're making the stand on a Monday.
And I was overly polite, too. As I was watching these people get absolutely destroyed, I was overly polite. You're welcome.
For what?
Just the people.
The great story.
Yeah, no.
Okay. So you were a renegade today. Are you willing to step up and defend a guy who I think many people are going to smash in reaction to one of the big NBA moves has already come down? And the news is in. Ja Morant going to Portland for Jeremy Grant and Chris Murray. First of all, give me the read on the trade before you react to Morant himself.
I mean, it's kind of funny. If I told you 2 years ago that the Trailblazers would be able to get Ja Morant for Jeremy Grant and the lesser Murray twin, you would laugh. You'd be like, there's no way.
What has happened?
Yes. And that's exactly what it is. I mean, you can't help but laugh, and I think you feel a little bad. Ja Morant at a time was at the peak of the NBA. He's still considered, I put in air quotes here for our radio audience, a star. I don't consider him to be as such, but the NBA treats him as such. But he has done this to himself with his inability to stay on the court, whether it's through injury or through his own actions. It's also his game. He's not exactly the archetype of a player that is going to age particularly well. Doesn't really have a consistent jump shot. Doesn't hit from three. Is very, very reliant on his athleticism and explosiveness, and that's kind of waned a little bit here over the last couple of years. So I think the read is almost somewhat sad to an extent, considering we see this all the time. Just these stars have a downward trajectory, and here it is. It's Jeremy Grant and it's Chris Murray, and that's it.
All right, let's attack the Morant comments on a couple of fronts. He is on the decline?
I think, yes. Like, compared to what he was, yeah. When you've watched him play, like the lack of explosiveness, the inability to get to the rim, I think with as much consistency as he used to, absolutely. And you just know that, like with these types of guards, that game generally does not age well. You have to have an ability of some sort to hit some sort of jump shot, space the floor, do those sort of things. He's still a magnificent passer, but he is not, I think, the same player that he once was.
Wow. Sorry, I was looking up his age. Wait, he's only 26?
Yeah.
The guy you're describing is 30.
I know, right?
Are you sure?
I mean,
he's lost it? Or was it more of a style of play thing? Because I thought that was a big argument the last couple of years, that they wanted to play a certain style, and he didn't want to do it. And obviously, what was it, last year he won the battle against the head coach?
The year prior, yeah. Because, I mean, clearly he didn't win this time because he's out. But, I mean, you look at some of his efficiency numbers. He only played 20 games this year, but he was in the 26th percentile in points per shot attempt, which is not very good. His best year since his breakout season, I mean, he kind of broke out right when he started, but his third year was like one of his best. He was in the 76th percentile in terms of efficiency as a guard. He hasn't placed any higher than 64th in each of the seasons following. So he hasn't been available. He's not as efficient. He's still just as great a passer as he once was. And his assist-to-turnover ratio compared to his usage is pretty average at this point.
Is that the biggest thing, though? You mentioned, or you're hinting at durability. Is that the biggest reason that he's dropped off so much?
I think so.
Last 3 years, 9, 50, and 20 games. And frankly, even when he did play well, he was only turning in 67, 63 games. So is he the kind of guy who's just too small from a durability standpoint to turn in 75 games?
I mean, I think so. Remember, mixed in there, too, is a COVID year. So you have to take that into consideration with one of those 50-game seasons or something like that. He played like a lot of them in the COVID short season.
He pretty much played the whole
yeah, it was the 72-game year, whatever that was. So to me, if you want the most telling statistic of like Ja Morant and where he's at with his game, it's where his shots are coming from. So his first 3 years in the league, we'll call it the first 4 even, he took 49% of his shots at the rim, 42, 43, and then 40. So you see that small decline. So he used to get to the rim a ton. Now, if you look at the last 3 seasons, 39, 33, and then just last year in 20 games, only 30% of his shots came within 4 feet of the basket. So you can clearly see he has changed his game to not be as explosive, to not put as much pressure on the rim, and he's now kind of reverted to that short mid-range kind of floater area of the floor where he can be somewhat efficient. But his game, when he first broke onto the scene, was being a driver of the basketball, was attacking the rim with some violence, and his best year, again, going back to that third season, where he took over 40% of his shots at the rim and he shot 66%. Like, that's a dominant force for a guard, and he has not been near those numbers.
The rest of the team. Boy, Grant was making $34 million, huh?
Yeah.
So that's why he's a good trade piece.
Yes.
Drew Holiday, Shaedon Sharpe, Kamara, Scoot. How did Scoot play last year?
Scoot was good.
Comes along, right?
Yeah, he found his 3-point jump shot for the most part, and that was one of the big bugaboos for him. If you look at the last 3 seasons, his first 3 seasons as a whole, the first year he only shot like 33% from 3. Last 2, though, he was shooting about 36%. And at the second half of the year, he was shooting really well. So if he's going to start to find that, I think it's going to be a really big deal for him.
So if you just tuned in, Ja Morant traded to Portland. Obviously, their best player is under contract in the form of Denny for just under $25 million for the next 2 years. And what happened? Not the best player?
Their best player might not be on the roster yet. I think this is very clearly setting up for them to go get Jaylen Brown, potentially.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Rest of the roster, I mentioned Scoot. Lillard is part of the roster. Donovan Clingan, who's shown some promise. And then beyond that, not much.
Yeah. If you look at their backcourt.
But I mentioned 5-6 players there. That's a good core.
I mean, they made the playoffs. Yeah. They're a really solid team. Now we'll see, because I think, as we mentioned, you look at the backcourt, it doesn't make a lot of sense to have Drew, Dame, Scoot, Ja. So there's going to be some changing of the guard, quite literally. And I think that means that Jaylen Brown's probably there. They're already one of the teams that was rumored to be sniffing around him. And we've talked about this. They had the treasure trove of Bucks assets that they could have gone to go and get Giannis with and given the Bucks back some of their pieces. That obviously didn't happen. You can still use some of those assets plus one of those pieces, probably Drew Holiday, to go and then get Jaylen Brown.
Interesting. All right, we're gonna hit on Brown on a bunch of fronts in about 10 minutes. The other thing coming down today, and again, today is the beginning of the legal tampering period, so moves can be made. There's a ton of moves that have been made already. We'll get into a lot of those. Rumor mill is spinning. I don't know if it's spinning, whatever. It's active.
Turning?
It's active on the Warriors. Because we saw the note today that Dr. Dre, master of kinesiology, Draymond Green, turned down an option for $27.7 million. Yeah. And now things are running rampant that, hey, this is going to clear more salary flexibility to go get possibly LeBron and Anthony Davis, who, by the way, you mentioned AD last week as a candidate for the Blazers.
Yeah. They're going. It's not possible. It's going to happen.
What, the Warriors?
Yeah, the Warriors
are getting both LeBron and AD.
Yeah, it's
going. You're willing to guarantee this?
I'm willing.
Your
to
strong take 10 days ago was the Heat did not have enough in a trade.
I didn't say that.
To get Giannis. Now, to be fair, they did up the offer a bit with I think it was an additional player.
I said it. Yeah.
Why do you feel so strongly about this? It seems like pie in the sky stuff.
Does it? Who's Draymond's agent? Rich Paul, who runs Clutch Sports, who also has who? LeBron James? Yeah, Dre's not turning down $27.7 million unless he knows and his agent knows that they're doing that for a concrete reason. And that concrete reason is that LeBron James is coming along with Anthony Davis. So that would involve flipping Jimmy Butler to go to Washington and then bringing in Anthony Davis. And then LeBron would take the mid-level exception, which is not that much, but it's a very big pay cut for him. And you put it together, I don't think there's really any question that LeBron and AD are going to be in San Francisco.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So LeBron is going to take significantly less money to join the Warriors, but have the Lakers even tried? He won't consider it with the Lakers, or is this Rich Paul's revenge? And he has a chance to put together what is an aging super team with an old guy reunion.
So remember Friday? I think we ended up talking about this on Friday. The Lakers, we brought it up with Rush. They had not reached out to LeBron. This was, as you call it, legal tampering. This is your window you can negotiate with your own guys. Nothing. Well, about an hour after the report that Draymond was declining his player option, another report popped up. Lakers meeting with LeBron later today to discuss his future with the team. I think this is happening.
Could they pull a heist? Could the Lakers pull a heist on the Warriors? Could they find a way to get LeBron back and somehow include Draymond?
I mean, I guess in theory you could. Because, again, as terrible as this is to say, Rich Paul is kind of pulling the strings here. And I don't think Rich Paul would screw over one of his clients just to give the other leverage so he could go and return to the Lakers. So to your point, is this a Draymond and LeBron are going to be tied together in some way, and one like they both go to the Lakers or they both go to the Warriors? But I think Draymond's been pretty clear on his willingness to stay with Golden State. And, I mean, think about it. It is somewhat of an insult. I don't think people understand. You have brought this up before. The Lakers were nothing before LeBron got there. They had Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart and all those pieces and Brandon Ingram, and they were constantly toiling in the bottom of the standings, and LeBron came and forced them to go get AD and brought them back. They won the bubble championship and have been, fringe playoff contending teams for a long time, since then. Right in that 4-seed mix, whatever, win a playoff series or two. He brought them back. And it's kind of insulting if you're LeBron, arguably the greatest player of all time, even given the financial situation, that they won't even talk to you, if that's true. So I think he wants to be out too. Why wouldn't you? You at the very least deserve the respect of being treated like LeBron James by the franchise that you brought a championship to and helped bring out of the swamp. And if you're a Lakers fan and getting mad at this, you're denying. You are head in the sand. The franchise had nothing before LeBron got there.
And then AD's involvement to go back 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So how is he tied to all this?
Because they just want to put together a super team, I would assume. So, and Jimmy Butler, of course, coming off of the serious injury. So you're going to ship him off because it's somewhat matching salaries, and you're going to
Anthony Davis control where he goes.
I think he's got.
Trade?
He does not have
I always find this fascinating that teams will cooperate to send someone somewhere they want to go. But maybe that's been the plan all along for Anthony Davis from the origination of this trade.
When it comes to these sort of things, and it was
of this trade,
somewhat true with Giannis too. You as a player control where you want to go to an extent, like Kawhi's going through it right now, because you have a player option coming up. So you're under contract for next year, but you have a player option for the next season. So Anthony Davis, in theory, could say what's going on with Kawhi now, which is you could trade for me, but I'm not. I'm going to decline my player option, and I'm going to leave in free agency because I don't want to be there. So
it makes the return pretty mediocre for the team that has him right now.
Right, which is why you're hearing with Kawhi, the theory is that Kawhi it's kind of a quid pro quo with the Clippers, which is, hey, you treated me well, so I'm going to say that I'll re-sign with Toronto so that they'll up the deal knowing that it's worth trading for me. And it's the same thing here. AD doesn't exactly control where he wants to go, but he has the power because he can threaten to say, nope, I'm just declining my option and I'm leaving free agency next season.
Now back to Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
NBA offseason is here. Official tampering period began today. So LeBron rumors, Jaylen Brown rumors, John Morant on the move. The former Memphis guard goes to Portland. John says not a mega deal unless Morant bounces back as a player, but what it could be setting up is significant. So we'll hit on that a little more as the show moves along. It's Cofield, it's JVT, it's James. Want to remind you another week of Lotus Summer of Fun giveaways is each week during the summer we're giving away a trip. It's all America themed. So in this case, we're asking you to text in the code word of the day, 702-364-1100, and the trip is to South Dakota. So you get to check out Yellowstone. Very cool trip. These are all American-themed trips. The code word of the day, 702-364-1100, is RED, R-E-D, RED. All American themes, RED, for a chance to win the South Dakota trip. It's brought to you by ESPN Las Vegas, Terribles, and Bay Law Injury Attorneys. It's our Lotus Summer of Fun. All you got to do is listen each day for the code word of the day, send it in, and you have a chance to win a really cool trip for the 4th of July and our 250th birthday. I find the Jaylen Brown stuff fascinating because I think there's a lot of layers to the discussion here. Obviously, there's a Stephen A. angle, which is kind of weird, and we'll build on that in a second. But, John, tell me if I'm wrong. Are there a lot of suitors for Jaylen Brown? Is there an aggressive market here, or is there a word around the league that maybe he's overrated, or maybe there's something else about him that doesn't make him an attractive superstar?
I mean, if you believe reports, the one report today was that interest in Brown was, quote, tepid. So it doesn't sound like there's a ton.
Why is that
out there? I think there's a few solid reasons that Jaylen himself probably should recognize. One of the things, as stupid as you might think it is, but from a chemistry and teammate standpoint, it does come across as odd that in a career in which you have won an NBA championship, the season that you were solo without Jason Tatum is the one that immediately afterward you come out and say, that was my favorite season I've ever had. That was immediately coming out afterward. He's always had this, and I think at times rightfully so, this chip shoulder about his role, where he fits in with this team. And fittingly, he's the one that won Eastern Conference Finals MVP and helped them win the finals. And I believe won Finals MVP that year, if I remember correctly. I'll have to go back and check that one. But I know he won Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He is a guy that has performed at the highest level. I think he's a good player. So I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think part of it is the way he's carried himself. And I think part of it is the archetype of player that he isn't the most conducive to at least shipping off a massive haul to go and get.
Why not? He's a 25-point-per-game guy who can play on the wing.
Mm-hmm.
How is he defensively?
Oh, I think he's a good defensive.
Right? Solid defensively.
Yeah.
I mean, are people turned off that a guy who's been pegged as a 2 on a great team wants to be a 1?
No, I think there's a couple of things.
He spun positively, can it?
I mean,
he wants his own team, or he wants to be the alpha. He wants to be the guy.
Sure. He's also only twice in his entire career finished over the 50th percentile in turnover rate. He's not a really good ball handler. So that has led to some negatives on the other end because turnovers can, of course, lead to easy buckets the other way. He has balance to his game, but he's not the best facilitator. And even from a scoring standpoint, again, these are all numbers, but it paints some picture. And it gets back to one of the things that he's going to talk about here. We'll mention that he said. But the analytics point to the fact that he's not an overtly efficient scorer either. Floating around like the 50th to 60th percentile in terms of efficiency over the last 4 seasons. So I think, again, he's a really good player. If the Clippers got him today, I'd be very happy because he's a very good player. But I think when you add what Jaylen Brown is in comparison to some of the packages that the Celtics are asking for, I think that's part of where teams are starting to balk a little bit. And I think it was Richard Jefferson who said this on Get Up last week when the whole Giannis thing was still going on and they were maybe going to go get him and there was reports that Jaylen Brown wasn't happy about that. I mean, you're being named as a centerpiece to a trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's not necessarily an insult that you're being part of those conversations. The other time that you were involved in those conversations as a trade chip was for Kevin Durant 5 years ago or whatever it was. So it's not like they're sitting there saying, hey, let's trade Jaylen Brown for whatever, just like John Morant got shipped off for. John Morant got shipped off for a bad contract, a young player that doesn't have a lot of upside. That's not the case with you. And I think there's probably a part of him that is maybe taking some of those things too personally if it is truly bothering him.
More on Jaylen Brown on the way back, as we did have someone do an interview over the weekend quoting a personnel person saying that Jaylen Brown on many teams wouldn't even be the 7th best player.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
So I find this Jaylen Brown thing kind of fascinating because I think the other angle on – well, first of all, he was in a deal for the Bucks to send Giannis to Boston, and they decided not worth it. The Heat's package is better. The other thing with Jaylen Brown is he's a really smart guy. He's gone at Stephen A. Smith, and honestly, I think Stephen A. is a little bit intimidated because Jaylen Brown is super intelligent and is not going to get sucked into this like emotional battle or buy into his threats. When he starts whispering and saying that he's going to reveal the secrets of a player and his existence. Does that too smart for the room thing actually hurt him? Is that part of the problem with the Celtics? Is he not coachable? Is he not getting along with the coaching staff?
I mean, we're not in the room, but I can assume that maybe that might be part of it.
I always find these topics fascinating.
Sure.
Like, hey, he's too smart.
No, I'm with you because he is a smart guy. I mean, he's got I got to double check. He's got an advanced degree as well. He's done stuff at MIT in terms of speaking engagements, things like that. He's a really smart dude. I don't think we're crossing the Rubicon to the point where it's, hey, super outsmoking, very smart guy is now almost going to be blackballed. I think this is a choice where a team decided, and this is the risk when you go for a star like Giannis. You risk alienating the pieces.
Right. It gets public.
Yeah.
Now the guy's like, well, what the hell? You don't want me here. I don't want to be here.
And think about it from Brown's perspective, too. What has been the narrative, a stupid one, but what has been a narrative for those two almost since their inception as a pairing?
We got to break them up.
Yeah.
I've never gotten that. You and I have we've talked about this for 5 years. Like, wait, you have, because it started when they were like 23.
23. In their first season together, they made a run to the Eastern Conference Finals and took LeBron and the Cavs to Game 7.
You nailed it in back-to-back drafts and have guys who are 23 and 22 who are averaging 50 points per game combined, who can play the 2-3 and the 4 sometimes in Tatum's case, but they can't coexist. So it seems like there's always been something.
Yes, but something is almost largely, to his point in his argument, largely media-driven because the success has been there.
Right.
If you're a Nets fan, I am a Clippers fan. You know what I would do? I'd murder Steve right now if you told me that I could have the run that the Celtics had with both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
But then you ask, why are they trying to end it? Now, if it was an upgrade at a different position for Giannis, that's one thing. I'm really curious to see what Jaylen Brown goes for. Then there is this whole thing, and I think people around the NBA probably like it, that Jaylen Brown is going at Stephen A. Smith. I can tell you who does not like it. Well, hey, I guess he likes his son going at Stephen A. Smith. He doesn't like Stephen A. Smith. Is Jaylen Brown's dad, who we'll tell you about in a second because he's got some local ties. Here's Marcellus Brown on SiriusXM.
And Big Perk, you wrong for jumping against your teammate. I don't like that. Excuse the N-word, but that is. You know what I'm saying? Watch your mouth, boy.
Okay.
And how he handled that kind of pressure, I commend him.
Yeah.
Because I'm different. I'm getting your face, Stephen A. Yeah, I'm coming to see you.
What would you
I
say?
called you a couple times, Stephen A., and you didn't answer. But it's okay. I just wanted to talk about it man to man. What's your problems? Why are you attacking him? Why do you attack the black community? Go attack the white community. Oh, that's right. You getting that check to do that.
All fairness, Stephen A., Perk, they all got a job to do.
They got a job to do.
And
Pick on black guy.
you know,
pick on the black
and
guy.
that's how they, whatever that job is, this is how they choose.
Yeah,
to
I
do
ain't
it.
in the league, so come get me.
Okay, yo.
I ain't in the league, so come get me. Now, if people are listening and are like, who's this blowhard? That blowhard is 6'11", 280 pounds. He's boxed. I'm not saying like he's the world champion, but he's boxed. And, most recent news out of Vegas was back in probably August of 2025. I don't know if you ever go down to All-American Park by Buffalo and Charleston, but Marcellus was out there and got angry with someone, and some sort of beef started over a door ding, and eventually a gun was brandished or fired, and he was arrested on attempted murder charges. So I think when he's talking,
He might actually back it up.
this isn't Aubrey Huff inviting Jason Page or the internet to go fight him at his house.
Right.
So, now, do we need to have another media fight and come up with the odds? By the way, we're going to put out some odds tomorrow on Aubrey Huff against Cofield and Company cast members. That'll be a good story. But yeah, his dad's worked up. And it's hard as a dad, see your son get, picked on by one guy and one of the bigger names in the sports media.
I mean, what's interesting
This is the battle that Stephen A. has chosen.
To the point of, and again, there's things at play that I don't think we know, obviously. Yeah. So, for example, Windhorst the other day on a report on, it was either Get Up or First Take, referenced, somebody asked him about the relationship between Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and he said, and he was kind of quiet for a second. He goes, "They're professional."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
I thought he did the fingers where it was like, breaking news!
Yeah. He said, they're teammates.
Okay.
And they're professionals. That alludes to Brian Windhorst knowing that maybe there's something more at play than they're actually reporting on.
All right. And is that what Stephen A. is going to reveal? These dirty secrets?
I don't think Stephen A. knows that much.
Did he ever actually dish dirty secrets on KD when he went into his whispering, threatening mode?
No, of course not. I like Stephen A., but I don't think he knows that much in terms of that.
I'm sure you hear stuff.
Sure.
As lots of people do. And then you can make the decision if you want to send out information that might be poorly sourced or only with one source.
Yeah.
Lots of us hear things. I'm not saying I hear things on the level of the great Stephen A. Smith in the NBA. On the way back, we got a lot of boxing to get into. Great fight this weekend. What is happening now with Floyd Mayweather? Because now the next step in Floyd's money troubles, we heard Dana White over the weekend say, you know what, maybe we can help him.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
All right, a ton to get to with Steve Kim here on this Monday. Korean Cosell is up from Whitlock's Fearless Show. Steve, what's up, buddy?
Gentlemen, good week to you. How you guys doing?
Okay, well, good weekend, right? Because we had a good fight, a good matchup put together, and Boots Ennis, who I know you're very high on, delivered, but it was a really good fight.
It was a good fight. Took a while to get there, which I detailed in my latest column on Substack. The delays are a little bit much for me, but Boots Ennis and Xander Zayas certainly they were worth waiting around for. And I've said for a while that when it comes to American boxers, and this is not a pound-for-pound list. It's not who's really the best or most accomplished. I like the killer bees, Bam Rodriguez, David Benavidez, and Boots Ennis.
Well, first of all, where was the fight available to watch? What was the audience like? And then what was the live audience like?
Well, it was on the Zone pay-per-view, and I detailed. And look, the pay-per-view is what it is. Okay, I mean, good luck to them with that. But the thing that really bothers me about these shows is because they want to lengthen these broadcasts because they want to procure as many pay-per-view sales as possible, and I have a theory on that. But the shortest delay in between fights, Steve, throughout that night was 27 minutes, and the average was 39. And from the last semifinal bout was Emiliano Vargas. Looked very good against Bryce Mills. He's certainly a young fighter to keep an eye on. It took 57 minutes to get to the main event, and so it actually started at about 20 minutes before midnight on the East Coast. So question I have is, Steve, do you think you're developing any new fans east of the Mississippi doing it this way?
No. Because even if you wanted to kind of juggle sporting events and have that off to the side and just tune back in, I mean it's almost midnight, like you said. I saw you retweet someone asking, or a headline, will Boots get treated the same way that Terrence Crawford did by the mainstream boxing media? What does that mean?
Well, I think that that's from Coach Malachi, who's a big Terrence Crawford supporter, and there was a group of fans that were very critical of Boots Ennis because he was not with PBC. This thing is very political. You have guys waving pom-poms for promotional entities. Personally, I think that with a guy like Boots, he should be appreciated because he's a highly skilled fighter. But guess what? There's actually an entertainment value to what he does. And if that means getting hit once in a while for my enjoyment, for my entertainment value, so be it. I think he's a spectacular talent. And that third round should be remembered for a very long time. But, I really hope that he fights a little bit more often than he has been because he's one of those guys actually worth watching. But I get the sense for the most part, though, that most people are very, very high on Boots Ennis.
Could Boots meet up with Fundora next?
I saw the report from Mike Coppinger, and he has very good sources, obviously. I was actually told early in the morning that Virgil Ortiz may want to get into the Boots running, and I think that has something to do with the fact that he saw him hurt, and maybe their belief is, hey, if Xander Zayas, who's not a great puncher, can have him not necessarily out on his feet but buzzed, I could finish the job. So I will say this, though, with Fundora. At that weight class, 154 pounds, being 6'5.5", he is the toughest stylistic matchup in all of boxing. Doesn't mean he's the best, and we've seen him knocked out, but he's come a long way since that KO loss to Brian Mendoza, and I was really impressed with the way he chopped up Keith Thurman.
What does the fight over the weekend do for Zayas moving forward?
Well, he was going to move up in weight anyway, I believe. Got him paid. There's probably a measure of respect for Xander that he gained in that loss than he did for the previous fights before. And he was a two-belt champion at 154. I think the biggest issue with Xander is he going to be able to box well enough at the upper reaches of the sport to overcome his relative lack of power? Now, with that being said, maybe that's an indictment on Boots' ability to take a punch, but I thought that was going to be the big difference in that fight last weekend. But I think Xander will be fine. I think Top Rank will handle his career well. And to be frank, 160 right now, as I have dubbed it, is the mediocre division. Gennady Golovkin and Bernard Hopkins ain't walking through that door.
Steve Kim with us, SteveKimBoxing.substack.com. Sign up for that. Multiple stories each week on boxing and other stuff, as Steve is well versed in all variety of sports talk. Last couple things and this is very important, on the combat world. What's happening with all the Floyd Mayweather exhibition/fights? Like, is there anything now on the schedule?
Well, in the immortal words of the modern-day philosopher Mike Tyson, they've gone to Bolivian. Something that I've been hinting at on my Substack. I do a short little podcast a couple times a week in addition to the 3-down rule. And I've written about it and I've talked about it. A couple months ago, he had 3 events scheduled, which was going to culminate in that rematch with Manny Pacquiao. As of right now, all 3 are not happening. And then it's been reported that the Pacquiao rematch, whether it's a real fight or not, would take place in January. To which I ask, which year?
Yeah. Okay, how bad? I mean, you're connected way more than we are, even though we're here locally around the Floyd community. How bad are the money, there's fraud claims. How bad is the money situation with Floyd?
But just going by the things that are reported, it ain't good, right? And to where there's smoke, there's fire, and this is like a full-blown inferno. I've heard he's actually in the hole, $50 million at least. I'm going to make a prediction right now. Yes, at least. That's just the beginning. But I'll make a prediction right now on this fine program to all the millions of listeners out there. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I believe in the next couple of months, just kind of my feel and my sense, you're going to have more people come out, whether it's car dealers, jewelers, creditors of various sorts. They're going to say, hold on, Floyd Mayweather also owes me money. He's in arrears with us. That's my prediction.
Well, I saw last week that on 3 Knockdown Rule with you and Mario Lopez on your fight podcast that you had that indelible image of Floyd sitting at a long dining room table with just stacks of cash, and that is something people are not going to forget about. how boastful he was about his riches, and now we see this. I mean, I still find it incredibly sad, but I am very much in the minority.
Wow, you have a bigger heart than I thought, Cofield, because I actually find it kind of humorous and amusing. Maybe that makes me a bad person. I'll live with it.
You know what?
Yeah, I mean, look, the way his persona caused this,
yeah.
Steve, you actually feel sorry for him, really.
Well,
do tell.
Being around Floyd enough, I think he's an incredibly insecure guy, and I think all of that was cover for his insecurity. And, he did it to himself. But I think, deep down he's a flawed individual. And, we had heard about money troubles like 8 years ago when he was supposedly on top of the mountain where, all those security guys, that big security team, those guys weren't getting paid. So I guess we could see it coming. I guess I'm a gentle soul at times, right, John?
That is very true. And I will also say to Steve Kim's point about people coming out of the woodwork about debts owed, I'll just say that, Steve, when I was younger, I was delivering bounce houses to make ends meet.
That's right.
And I had to deliver a bounce house to Floyd's house, and not only did he not tip me, but he let the sprinklers come on and flood the bounce house. So, come on.
Wow. See, what a scoundrel. So, Steve, based on what you just heard, when Floyd Mayweather does a GoFundMe campaign to help himself the hell out, are you going to contribute, yes or no, based on that story?
Come on.
There's a lot
How
of...
can you even think about it?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Wow.
I'll say this. I'll say this that I'll also admit I have a soft spot because of all the odd things we've ever seen on one of those Floyd Mayweather, 24/7 preview fight documentaries over like the course of 4 or 5 weeks. Was him in his one of his high-priced sports cars listening to our show. Like about 10 years ago, I was like, Floyd's a listener. Floyd's a listener.
Well, I mean, come on, guys. Cofield, you're big. You're the Howard Stern of the desert. But the thing is, what are I have a feeling if they do any of those IRS auctions where you got to liquidate a guy's possessions,
sure,
I might actually go there, buy like a TMT coffee mug, a TBE mouse pad, maybe buy like a bath towel of his, just to say that I have it.
There's going to be a lot of goodies. There was a lot of TMT stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, one more step this weekend that was interesting. Someone asked Dana White, he of Zuffa Boxing, about Floyd, and he kind of hinted, hey, I've talked to him a little bit. Maybe we should talk more. Maybe there's something I can do for him. Does that mean anything?
Well, that was a question that was brought up yesterday out of nowhere. I thought that was kind of a strange question given the fight, given the fact it was a post-fight press conference for Zuffa Boxing 8. But look, Zuffa's looking to make a splash, right? So let's say you make a quote-unquote real fight with a somewhat legitimate fighter between, 47 to 60, whatever Floyd can make. Would that make a splash? I believe it would, but keep this in mind. I don't know what is happening with the litigation, but CSI Sports Events, which fronted Mayweather several $1 million about, 5 months ago, right? And then basically, in essence, got last week's event in Greece shut down. I think they have rights. So if Dana White can have an idea that, hey, I want to do the next fight with him under Zuffa Boxing, you still got to take care of CSI.
Steve Kim is with us up on Twitter at SteveKim323. You had a very good conversation post-NBA draft on Whitlock's Fearless Show where you guys bounced around the new look broadcast, at least this year, where a lot of the guys who were drafted were up there with mom and dad. What does that mean?
I've said this for a while. Boxing is no longer just an inner-city blacktop sport. It is now a year-round club sport. And what you are seeing, and this trend's been going on for at least a decade, you have a lot of juniors and thirds, right? Kids that are offspring of former NBA players of different varieties and different calibers who play basketball year-round. They're taught the sport. And so I think the archetype of what you're getting in terms of their socioeconomic status, I think is subtly changing.
Wait, do you need your dad around for tutelage, or do you need your dad's money? You need your dad's money around.
Well, you need both. You do need resources. I think having a male influence is always good on a young man. But also, if you're going to play club sports and everything is so specialized, now that's a multi-million-dollar industry for every sport, right? So you're going to see two things. A lot of specialization means you basically have to pick a sport and be good at it. And so another thing is making the NBA, a lot is hereditary. You got to have a good gene pool. Generally, you just can't be 5'11". You got to be at least, 6'3", 6'4", at the very low, short end to even have a shot. And so if your dad was already 6'7", you marry the right person, and already you probably are increasing your ability to be a better basketball player.
This is always a touchy subject, and I saw on Fearless you brought up, LeVar Ball as an example. I think another one you could bring up is John St. Brown, bodybuilder, lifter with all of his kids, at least getting, some success to high-level success in the NFL, that this is a factor that maybe male athletes are thinking about who they, decide to procreate with.
It matters. Look, LeVar Ball, obviously his marriage has ended. I remember when him and his sons came into prominence. It was about 7-8 years ago, and they're still kind of in high school. I think the oldest son was at UCLA. He would do interviews, and he flat out said, I married my wife because she was a volleyball player with athleticism and size. So, yeah, it matters. We can deny it all we want, but the science is the science.
On to the WNBA. I know one of your favorite topics, and it's a hot-button issue here for a couple of months, especially around Caitlin Clark. First of all, did you think the one-game suspension was enough for Alyssa Thomas?
Yeah, and I think that has to do with the totality of events. She seems to be kind of the WNBA version of Bill Laimbeer. So it may have not been just about that one particular incident. That's probably the one that people care about most because it's Caitlin Clark. But if you look, again, at the totality of events from what she has done throughout her career, that probably played a factor, too.
There are some that think the league overreacted to the optics of an image, including Shanae Ogwumike. What do you think about what Shanae was talking about?
I think that's part of it. There's some truth to it. But, again, Alyssa Thomas is who she is. She's going to kind of be a goon, a female goon. I don't think any female wants to be known as a goon, but her play is her play. This has been a very polarizing issue, this whole Caitlin Clark thing. I'm at Coach JB's house watching the fights, and he has this various television screen with the 4 boxes. And on one of the boxes was the Indiana-LA game. I just happened to look at the score, and they were blowing out LA, and I thought to myself, maybe Indiana just needs to part ways with Caitlin Clark. If they have irreconcilable differences, they tried it, it didn't work. Maybe both parties would be better off with a divorce here.
I don't agree. Kelsey Plum was out for the Sparks, so I think that was probably a little misleading on the scoreboard. But it's something I know you want to debate. I don't think you want to debate it. But I got to mention one last thing. You always have interesting nuggets up at Steve Kim 323. Great retweets. Something I had not known, or I guess I didn't remember. One, Dan Deerdorf had his 77th birthday, and you retweeted it and said, hey, that guy was actually pretty good on boxing calls. I don't remember that.
He was. Yeah, so back then, ABC, this was kind of like the last era where they would do regular fights. And so he was a blow-by-blow, which I thought was very interesting. It wasn't Al Michaels or another professionally, classically trained announcer. Most announcers are going to be the announcers, and you have an ex-athlete be the color guy. I don't know how Dan got the gig, but he actually became a very, very good one. Wow. And his most memorable, I think, line ever, or his call, was when they did the HBO secondary replay of the classic Chavez-Taylor fight. And the way he called that stoppage when Richard Steele waved off the fight, he went nuts. Steve, I'll send it to you because it's out there on YouTube. Yeah. But over time, I said, man, this guy Deerdorf is really, really good.
Steve, we're up against it. Thank you. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great week.
There he is up on Twitter, Steve Kim 323, and watch Fearless with Whitlock.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
Every day at this time, we are joined by the audience in Northern Nevada, ESPN Reno. It's brought to you by Battleborn Injury Lawyers. 766-1400 is the call from anywhere in the state of Nevada. Number 775-766-1400 to dial in Northern Nevada. You are tracking soccer and World Cup. Did you bet something?
Football. Thank you very much.
My bad.
A little bit of an upset brewing here potentially. So Germany, who I don't know how much you've watched of the Germans, that looked particularly impressive going through group play. And here they are in the 110th minute in a 1-1 tie with Paraguay right now. They had a goal in the first period of extra time, but it was called off due to, I don't know if the official term is goaltender interference, but the German guy, one of them, knocked over the goaltender, and there was a goal scored, and apparently you can't do that. So that gets wiped off the board, and we're still in a 1-1 draw right now as we are inching closer to the second extra time period coming to an end. A reminder that when it does, you will then go to penalty kicks.
Knockout stage?
Yeah, it's knockout stage, round of 32.
How big a favorite was Germany?
That's what I'm saying. It's a big deal. They were a $3 favorite on the money line on the three-way.
All right, excitement out of the gates.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yesterday was great, too. Canada played the first one. They were up. They won 1-0. They got a goal in extra time, and then Brazil earlier today outdueled Japan. That was a fun game. They went down 1-0 early and then scored 2 outright, including the last one was in the 96th minute.
So we can have PKs, but you can still have a draw on the betting.
Yes. So the draw would be only for regulation. So
not no extra time.
Yeah. So the draw would be.
So it's already in.
Yes, the draw's already in. Correct.
But you can't win now.
Yeah, you can win. What are you talking about?
No, I'm saying you won your draw bet.
You won draw. Yes.
But obviously, the Germany win.
Yeah, so there's different ways to
out.
bet it. So on the three-way, that's usually regulation. Always check the labeling. It'll say 90 minutes. That includes stoppage time. So just for everybody out there. And then there's to qualify or to move on. I don't know what the term is. I'm missing the term there.
Advance?
But to advance. Thank you very much. That is just an outright money line play. And those odds will be a little bit different. But so, for example, the Brazil game today was actually really fun because they score in the 95th minute. So you end up, draw was like minus 380 at one point in game live because you thought like, hey, we're going to go to extra time. This is going to be over. You're in the 96th minute and they haven't scored yet. They score in that 95th, 96th minute. And so Brazil was to win in regulation at that time just about 3-1, nearly 4-1. And you end up cashing that in game if you got it.
Battleborn Injury Lawyers presents The Big 4 at 4. Number 4.
JVT says, I saw Supergirl over the weekend.
I did.
Of course you did.
What does that mean?
Oh.
What is that supposed to mean?
I don't know. I read stuff about the kind of guys who go to see Supergirl.
And hang out at Durango in a night. It's a great time. I'll tell you this. Yeah, I liked it. But I'm a simpleton, okay? I will say this. I'm going to jump you on this.
Yeah. I thoroughly dislike, for some reason, some of your VSiN cohorts and how they talk about movies and TV.
There's only one that I can think of.
One in particular.
Brian Ortega?
Ruins them all the time. No, you do a podcast with him.
Oh, Mitch?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think there's way too much time spent deep diving and shredding stuff. And it's just like, just watch the movie.
Right. Like, I enjoyed it.
I mean, it's like psychoanalysis over... I was joking, obviously, about you're the type of guy to go watch Supergirl. I don't even know what that means. But apparently that is a narrative like, hey, there's something wrong with you.
So here's the thing. So the movie itself, for those who have not really kept track of it, some are trying to slug it as it is bombing. It's not doing exactly what they wanted to. And I don't know if you saw the first, like the Superman that came out last year. But it's not tracking anywhere near what that's going to do in terms of ticket sales, Rotten Tomato ratings. It's got like a 54% from critics. Audience members are actually at 76%, so it's more like me, just generally kind of liked it. But you see so much, and it reminds me actually, I don't know about you, I don't go on X as much anymore. I cannot stand the site anymore. The bots are all over the place. It's racism, it's sexism, it's garbage, AI posts and things like that. It has become so crappy. And so you get this influx of people who are talking about this movie. And first off, Millie Alcock, who is the lead woman, she's Supergirl. She was also, if you're a Game of Thrones fan, she was in House of Dragon. She played the younger version of, I can't remember who the main lady's name is, but she was in the first season. Not hot enough, Steve. She's a wildly attractive Australian lady. Like, yes, she is.
By the way, also a lady. I had no idea. I thought when she was in Game of Thrones, I was like, what an actress for being like 14. And then I look it up. She's 26.
Dude, so it's funny you say that. I watched the first season on a vacation somewhere just to catch up to see who's this. And I was like, oh, like, yeah, who is this? Like, who's this little girl?
What a rising
And then the
star.
first image that pops up, she's like ripping a dart outside of a restaurant. And I was like, oh, this is like a full-grown woman. This is incredible. But like the movie was enjoyable. It was fine. I liked it. I went to go see the movie alone, which is another thing I'm starting to do more. I enjoyed the experience. I was very hungover and finally got out of bed and was like, let me just go chill and see what this movie's like. But it just the entire social media ecosystem has just been crapping all over this movie, and you would think it was terrible, and it was just such a reminder for me why I don't go on that website anymore, why I don't take it any serious. I watched it, I enjoyed it. I didn't check my phone one time. To me, that's always the line of demarcation of, all right, am I checking to see what time it is? I went to go see Mortal Kombat 2 like a month ago, whenever that came out. I found myself waiting for that movie to be over. This one was a great movie. I enjoyed it.
Number 3.
Another great example of social media. Do you believe it? Do you not believe it? Right? You were suggesting, hey, there's bots and nonsense all over X. Has that great American fair completely crapped the bed as much as photos are suggesting? Or are these agendas on both sides to make it look like, yep, it's a bang-up event or it's a terrible event? I don't know what to believe.
I don't know either, but I can't.
I'm not there.
No, I'm with you but I will say I saw a funny one. I don't know who the performer was. It was some sort of right-wing performer, I believe, whatever. But it was a woman singing and her guitarist, and the guitarist had sunglasses on. And so somebody zoomed in on the reflection of his sunglasses.
Oh, no.
There was like 10 people standing on the fairgrounds watching them play. And so I don't know if that's real or not, because I looked at the original image and zoomed in myself, and that was indeed what the reflection was. So
you double check.
I double checked my work, but if that's true, I mean, that's pretty bad.
I mean, this part of it, you can verify this. When people take pictures of the concession stands, the menu items look pretty weak, and they were wildly expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Which, that's kind of the best thing about fairs, isn't it? Especially state fairs. This is a national fair.
It's going to be ridiculous.
But usually it's like this over-the-top, really creative stuff, and it just didn't look that good, and it was expensive.
It should be akin to the Foodie Fest that we've talked about before. I like going to the Foodie Fest. I should be able to get a lobster mac and cheese double deep fried with powdered sugar on top.
Yes.
That should be what I'm getting at a state fair. Just like all of these foreigners are coming in, I mean that in a good way, and being amazed by our gluttony, that is what you should get at a state fair.
Yes. It is the ultimate in gluttony.
Yeah.
You found, and this was not at a fair, I don't think, you found a cheeseburger, not with, because we've seen the new thing is like burgers with donuts. Like, donuts are each of the buns. What'd you find?
This was an Uncrustable burger.
Okay.
Tim says ew right away. It's 2 Uncrustables. For those who don't know what Uncrustable is, it is that pre-made peanut butter and jelly sandwich with the crust cut off and kind of sealed so that you could just get the peanut butter and jelly without the crust.
The NFL eats, players combined eat like 800,000 Uncrustables a year.
Correct. And then, of course, I don't know, is it private equity got involved, and then they made those protein peanut butter and jellies, which suck, and the macros are actually terrible, so they're really not that good for you. Anyway, this is
big talk.
This is 2 Uncrustables,
Yep.
deep fried, stacked around a 7-ounce burger patty, melted cheddar cheese, and garlic pickle aioli.
I mean, and it's a peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
I mean, the picture, we'll post this picture on the web. Yeah.
So there was
I'm not a burger person. It's not like my favorite, but I would at least take a bite of that.
So
or more.
There was a local establishment in downtown Summerlin that many years ago I went down there to try it. It was a peanut butter and jelly burger. It wasn't Uncrustables, but it was a burger. But it had peanut butter with blackberry habanero jam and bacon lard.
Oh, God. It's so good.
Right. Yeah, not just bacon lard. And let me tell you, that was really good.
America! Yeah!
Hell yeah.
Cuss it out. All right, number 2.
Number 2.
Now, here's the great thing about it. You're talking about macros and crappy protein Crustables. You don't eat any of this stuff.
So
Did you this weekend, did you break ranks?
So
would you even eat that? Would you eat a peanut butter now with your whole fitness run where you're down like 60 pounds?
Okay, so I have to tell you this. I said this last Monday. I don't know if you remember this. So last weekend, not this current weekend, but this last weekend, I decided, you know what, man, I'm hungry, and I've been good. I'm going to treat myself. Actually, it wasn't this last week. It was last week. I took my dad to lunch. So I took my dad to a restaurant, got an order of poke nachos, ate the whole thing on my own, had a cheeseburger with fries, ate that entire thing, went home, and was, for whatever reason, still hungry. And I may or may not have ordered a breakfast burrito from a certain local Mexican shop as well, along with a cheese quesadilla, and ate that. And then the next morning, I went out and crushed my 3-mile run like no problem.
I thought you were getting sick in the past when you tried to start eating.
So it was
that
the sweets
decadent stuff again.
It was the sweets.
Okay.
So because I'm not a big sweet guy anyway. So the reason why I got fat and still chubby is because I like calories. So for me, I always make the joke of dessert for me is a second or a third serving. I don't really like sweets that much. They're not at the top of my list. So when I got donuts, for example, those are the things that upset my stomach. But yes, I would eat that, and you would be proud of me. I gorged on Poke Nachos, a burger, and a breakfast burrito all in one day, and it was great. And then I went out and ran, and I destroyed it.
Damn, impressive.
It's a metabolism.
I'm pretty disciplined on what is brought into Casa de Cofield as I'm trying to stay a little bit leaner. But not everyone in the house has that same discipline.
So annoying.
She's also rail thin, so now she's just showing off, being able to eat whatever she wants. These were not all my choices, but my food items this weekend included a spicy chicken teriyaki bowl. I really loaded up on cheese. A lot of cheese. Cheddar, spicy jack, lots of crackers, pizza, mac and cheese, red beans and rice, chicken fingers, and I did get some awesome banana pudding.
Ooh, I like banana pudding.
God, it's so good.
Yeah, banana stuff is really good, especially with vanilla wafers.
If I brought you this banana pudding, I don't make it. I get it from somewhere, but you can't eat it. You just said sweets kill you.
I mean, I would try it. I would eat it. Because here's the thing. Post 4th of July, so July 5th, I will be going back on the original weight cut for 75 days.
Oh, I didn't know you were off.
Yeah, I still am eating extremely well.
Okay.
But now I'm having a cheat meal maybe like once a week. Now I'm going to go back to the hardcore 75-day thing.
What you described earlier was not a cheat meal. That was.
I ate that within like an hour and a half of each other.
I love that. And then you went running.
And
for
I was,
the next day.
I couldn't understand myself.
Yeah.
I was so hungry, and it just wouldn't stop. My body was just like, give me more. And I was
Fat
like,
ass.
Yeah.
Number one.
Number one.
Let's go, fatty.
Dana White was asked about Floyd Mayweather and his money troubles of late, and I thought his answer was pretty interesting.
It's horrible, and it happens a lot in professional sports. Who knows? Yeah, that's a tough one. And I've talked to him about it, but I don't know enough about it. You hear all these different stories. I think you have to wait to see how this thing's going to play out in court for him. When somebody works as hard as he did and amasses the type of wealth that he had, and then they lose it or it gets stolen or whatever the deal is, it's horrible, and it happens a lot in professional sports. Anything is possible. Maybe we could do something and figure it out for him.
Maybe we can do something and figure it out for him. Is this altruistic Dana White, or is this opportunistic Dana White? We'll address it on the other side. Giveaway time right now. We got NBA Summer League coming to town. You can go to Thomas and Mack, check that, UNLVtickets.com, or the NBA/Summer League to get your tickets. We got a pair right now. It's for any day of the Summer League. On the campus at UNLV, 2 different buildings, July 9th to the 19th. July 9th to the 19th, UNLVtickets.com. We'll take caller 7 right now. James will give you a pair of tickets to the NBA Summer League, which is on the way here in less than 2 weeks. 364-1100, caller 7.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
Didn't think I'd say that JBT would be glued to the TV, but right now he is. You caught my attention. Germany and Paraguay in PKs.
And Germany missed their first. Paraguay hit their first. So Germany in a hole now as a pretty big favorite in this matchup. This is a very interesting result right now, and this would be a pretty decent size upset. And remember, I thought there was a lot of people. This is a good point. USA's first game was against Paraguay, and they smoked them 4-1. And there's a lot of, we thought Paraguay wasn't that good. Maybe Team USA actually might have something cooking here.
Last odds I saw up on William Hill were U.S. 25-1 to win the World Cup.
Yeah,
which I can't even really broach that topic. It just seems so far fetched.
I mean,
but maybe they'll have a chance to advance here and make some noise.
They're a $2 favorite in the first game against Bosnia-Herzegovina. I always messed up saying that. Either way, they're a $2 favorite, $2.50 favorite against Bosnia. Obviously, we're watching it right now. Crazier things have happened, but
Germany just scored.
Yeah.
So now it's 1-1, but Paraguay has
they're down in possession.
4 shots to go.
Sorry.
So were you surprised what I said about 40 minutes ago with Steve Kim that Floyd Mayweather's money issues, I feel kind of bad for him?
I mean, not necessarily, but does that feel bad from a sense of pity? Because That's
No, I don't. I'm not trying to be mean.
No, I mean, I don't think pity's necessarily mean, but it's just, he hasn't proven to be the best human being. And you can sit there and feel bad to an extent. And I think the way you phrased it because I think it's a good observation, seems to be an insecure person at times. Mm-hmm. You can feel bad for somebody, but, if it comes from a sense of like pity to an extent, I mean, it's not the nicest thing in the world.
I mean, I can remember him. I'm pointing right now, and people who are watching the live video can see it. And by the way, we're streaming live right now on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. But I'm pointing from our ESPN Las Vegas studio over to our Fox studio, and I can remember. I'd have to look back at what year it was. Must have been like 2006 or 7. It was following De La Hoya and Mayweather. And Floyd came in studio. I think Ellery was with him. And, I was talking about the DLH-Floyd fight. And I said, hey, pretty close fight. And Floyd deadpan looks at me and he's like, well, you don't know anything about boxing. And I just looked at him like, okay. Like, I wasn't going to get all worked up.
Right.
I'm like, whatever. I just think a lot of what he did, and even now what he does, is bravado to cover.
Sure.
But he was really arrogant about his money.
He was.
And this Dana White comment over the weekend, where he said, hey, it's sad. It happens to a lot of athletes. Maybe we can talk, and there's something we can do for him. Is this altruistic? Opportunistic? Is it Dana White trying to help someone? Or is it Dana White trying to, with TKO boxing, Zuffa boxing, buy low?
Okay, so I'll be fair for a second.
Okay, which is to suggest I'm going to be really unfair coming up.
No, just say you have heard a lot of stories of Dana being a generous tipper and a generous person around town, right? Playing blackjack, doing things, getting ice cream, all sorts of stuff. So I think that there's probably a side to him that is somewhat generous with the things that he wants to do. But much like we talked about with the UFC card, when it came to people ignoring the politicization of the UFC card and us saying you cannot exercise one from the other, I think it's the same thing here. You can come across as altruistic while also saying, sweet, pretty good opportunity coming up for your boy. And I think that's exactly what he's doing.
Well, think about it. What would be bigger for Zuffa boxing than having at least one fight housed under that brand?
Sure.
One Floyd fight housed under the brand. Right?
Yeah.
That would be tremendous for what they're trying to build. I think Fury and Joshua would be a mega deal if that happens in November, and it's rumored to be Wembley, maybe here, maybe SoFi. We haven't heard anything the last week or so. But if you're Dana White and your job is to make money for the parent company and the stockholders, and also to really develop a stronger foothold in boxing, all right, maybe this isn't our model to give a fighter this much of a cut, but they seem to be willing to cut special deals for boxers to get them in to start this business rolling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who Floyd would fight. It would be here. I would assume it's a 99.9% lock. It would be here. And if it was a competitive fight, I don't know if the Pac-Man fight's the fight.
No,
Can you imagine Dana White having to negotiate money with both Camp Pac-Man and Camp Mayweather?
Yeah. I mean,
his head would explode.
Yeah, of course.
Because apparently Pac-Man has big money problems. Steve Kim just told us 40 minutes ago that he thinks Floyd, after all that money that he made, might be $50 million in the hole.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And that was a guess by his own words. No, I'm with you. And also, look, there's going to be money there. I don't know, man. I'm not the biggest boxing guy, so I'm probably the wrong person to ask. But what is the fight that would actually get people to watch? I just don't. Is he that much of a draw anymore? For boxing fans, sure.
Yeah, he is. Oh, I think for the casual fan, if he promotes it up the way he can promote fights, and it's someone who's a little bit of a threat to him, there's always the business out there, even for Floyd as an old guy, for people who are like, I want to see him finally get his.
But
that's why I'm tuning in to watch him get his ass kicked.
But would he allow that? Would he allow an opponent to be booked that actually would put him in some danger?
Well, when you're worth hundreds of millions of dollars and you're driving the bus on the promotion, you can do whatever you want. When you're in hock and in a bad money state, you don't have as much control, do you?
No.
And you would hope that Dana White wouldn't just book a fight, Zuffa Boxing. The other thing is, who would be the money behind a fight?
Yeah, that too.
Probably Turkey Al-Sheikh. And I think he's made it clear a couple times in the past, like, I'm not really interested in, he outright went after Shakur Stevenson. Like, I'm not really interested in fights like that.
Yeah.
If you're just going to dance around and there's no action, I want action, which he has every right. I'm going to put the money up. I want to see guys go at it. So this is fascinating. We'll see what happens. We'll see what develops here. All right, so Germany and Paraguay, it's 3-3.
This is it right here. Oh, my goodness.
Paraguay's
missed their last 2 shots. They just needed to make one of their last 2 to knock this up.
Oh, that was 3-3 with only one shot left.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Paraguay could just completely blew this,
Really
and now the
good
Germans
save.
are back.
A really good save. Keeper gets the right way.
Holy
Knocked it right
smokes. How are you going to blow this?
Good stuff.
Oh, this is incredible.
Good stuff.
Can I just say,
Yeah.
I don't know how much you've been watching. This World Cup has been incredible. The competition has been fantastic. The games have been close and extremely competitive. The stars have shown up in a really big way. If Fox has to be thrilled with the way that this is going, every game, I'm not exaggerating, every game, save for 2, has been must-watch. Friday night, I'm at a local establishment watching Iran and Egypt, just watching every moment of it. I could not get enough
Do you
of
want
it.
to watch a replay on this one?
Oh, no. What
Germany
happened?
got up because now they continue with the PKs
They
one
missed.
by one. He freaking airmailed it. He freaking
Oh, my.
made the field goal. He freaking crushed it over the crossbar. Watch this, how bad this is. Boom!
Oh,
I mean,
come on.
the idea was right, but boy, I don't know who this German keeper is, but he's got to come up big again. You're right. This is tremendous.
This has been phenomenal theater. Every one of these games has been great.
Watch the Paraguay reaction when he makes the shot. It's gonna be
He's
freaking
gonna go insane.
It's gonna be freaking bedlam. I have no idea if he's gonna make it. So we'll see here.
Got it.
Yeah. So major upset.
Over. That's fantastic.
Is that Gillette?
Yeah, I believe they're in Boston.
Did they already
Yeah.
for football during the football season? Do they have those mega screens on that one end? I don't think I noticed that. Those are
You
impressive.
don't really see it from that angle too much.
Yeah.
Look at that, dude, and that's the
My
other part. I mean, like you're watching adult men cry right now. I mean, think about that. It is. It's a cool thing. I usually don't get wrapped up in it, but you saw me when Ray Brewer was in the one week wearing the Mexico kit. Tomorrow I'll be out at a Mexican bar checking it out, watching the game. It is cool to get wrapped up in this. The passion, the energy is absolutely tremendous. And as an energy chameleon, as I've used the term,
Yes.
absolutely fantastic.
Do we go as far as calling Ray Brewer an energy vampire?
If he is, he's not a strong one. He couldn't get me.
Right.
But he is a little bit of an.
I mean, we have in the building. We have the strongest energy vampire known to sports radio.
Who?
Okay. We coexist with the young man. So let's be nice. We don't have to bring him up.
Oh, Ari. Ari sucks sometimes, dude.
What did I just say? I said we don't have to bring him up.
I mean, I've told him to his face, so it's not like.
Why is he? It was a subtle reference. You don't have to call him out.
Talking about sports Eeyore.
And by the way, that's from this show. Like, we're calling people energy vampires. All right, are you a vampire or a chameleon on this one? JVT story. Red Sox sweep your Yankees. They, Boston, are going to make the playoffs, aren't they?
No, so I'm going to be positive. I'll start out with the negative. The AL sucks. And so, you watch.
You're actually being a chameleon here by picking up on a Red Sox energy, which is very newfound because, I don't know, a week ago, there was talk, and we addressed it on the air. I went on Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, and I was like, hey, Red Sox are rumored to be bailing. Sonny Gray and Aroldis Chapman are available. And then they have a week, and now they're probably – I don't know if they're going to be buyers, but I don't think they're just going to sell.
No, that's what I'm saying. Isn't it amazing how a week can change anything in baseball? But because if you blink, you sweep the Yankees in 4 games, you're only 4.5 games out of a wild card in the league that stinks.
But there's only 4 teams that can win in baseball. It's broken. It's not balanced.
Also, they're 10 games under with a positive run differential. That's a pretty good sign that you should be able to do something here. Go get Reed Detmers and get it done.
Well, you're really trying to spin off. Are you an Angels fan or not?
I mean, they fired Manassian while we were on the air on Friday. Thank God.
Do you think that's why they did it? Because he was unwilling to spin anything out to start rebuilding?
I think they did it because Artie Moreno needs a fall guy for his ineptitude as an owner.
So, Paraguay winner, 4-3 on PKs. We'll keep you updated the rest of the way on what's going on in the World Cup.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
All right, first day of legal tampering in the NBA. That means a lot of rumored moves. Moves have been made already. Ja Morant traded from Memphis to Portland. A lot going on with the Lakers, the Warriors, the Pistons, the Bulls, the Heat. So much to hit with John Browner from the Sporting Tribune. He hops on with us to talk some NBA and other stuff. Joins us here on a Monday with John Von Tobel and Cofield. What's up, John?
What's going on, fellas? How we doing?
We're good, man. So right out of the gates, we wanted to address some of the hot rumors going around GSW and what they could put together here. How believable is it that LeBron and AD could wind up with GSW?
I think it's believable in the sense that Draymond declined his option. Ain't nobody giving away money. That's insane in itself. So the fact that Draymond would decline his option in a time where it's hard to get this NBA money at this point in his career, he's a clutch client. There are reports that LeBron has not set up a meeting with the Lakers, so he's in full pout mode. Anthony Davis is always gettable, apparently. Who knew? So any of this is possible. I think the Draymond opting out, him being a clutch client, and LeBron tried to lure him down the last time he was free. I can't actually see this coming together. A couple of more moves need to be made for salary reasons, but I do see this as a possibility now.
Okay, let's assume the possibility becomes reality. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Draymond Green, Steph Curry are all teammates together. They just agreed to a deal with Kristaps Porzingis. What is that team in an ever-growing and younger Western Conference?
Oh, listen, we just learned experience beats age. We just watched the Knicks do the unthinkable because, I didn't have the Knicks favored. There was nothing special about the Knicks until they really got rolling. And even in the finals against all that talent, the youth of the talent really exposed itself with Mitch Johnson's inability as a coach. And then Wemby seemed to fade from time to time. And so you didn't know what you were going to get from them. For me as a person analyzing this, if you put Steph Curry and LeBron James on the same team together, as long as they make it in the playoffs, they absolutely have a chance. So I would watch every regular season game these guys would play together. And no lie. I'm tuning in to, they're not going to play 82 games. But if they play 60, I'm watching 60. They play 53, I'm watching 53. I don't care how many games they play together. If you put that core together on the court, I'm tuned in. I don't care what it is.
Do you trust Draymond to behave himself? Because that's a lot of egos in a room like this, and I can see a scenario in which Draymond maybe gets a little frustrated with Anthony Davis, who does have a history of a lack of availability.
Not around LeBron, he won't. Not around. He's got a level of respect for LeBron that sometimes it feels like he doesn't even have that level of respect for Curry. And Curry's been carrying him on his back since the day he got in the league. So if we're looking at it from a matter of can we keep Draymond in line, I think LeBron's mere presence creates an aura around this team that they can move like rock stars. This will be like the 98 Bulls without the result. But the temperature and the energy around this, I think this would dwarf everything else happening in the NBA. I honestly believe that. And I think the NBA, as much as we talk about what the NBA would like to see happen, I think if Adam Silver woke up tomorrow and the Knicks defending their NBA championship, and then you put the two greatest players from this generation on the same team in the twilight of their career, oh, this is gold. This is ratings gold. This is ratings gold. And so Draymond would behave for that. I think Draymond's dislike for Anthony Davis' fragility, I think all that goes away because at the end is when you need him. You don't need him for the sprint. You need him to cross the finish line.
All right, staying in the Western Conference, Jeremy Grant and Chris Murray. If I told you 2 years ago that's all it would take to get Ja Morant, what would you have said?
I would thought you were lying. I was in an alternate universe. Earth 2, Earth 57. This just shows you how far a guy can fall. Because Ja Morant has endless talent. But whatever he has going on, whether it's him, it's the people around him, it's his relationship with the team or the front office, whatever it is, it's so toxic that they traded this guy to what many people believe now to be the most toxic owner in the NBA. So this is the on-court. This looks confusing in a sense because they still have Dame. They still have Drew Holiday. They still have Scoot Henderson, who's still a young player. He might be 21 now. And now you add John Morant to that. That's 4 guards. So that, even in itself, that roster still has a lot of moving to do. And if they're ahead in the Jaylen Brown sweepstakes, the job move makes sense. But if they don't end up with Jaylen Brown, what was all this for? Like, just because he was cheap and no one else wanted you, bargain binned him? I don't understand. I like it. Don't get me wrong. I like it because I love chaos. Mm-hmm. But I don't understand it.
Yeah, that's to me is the confusing part because there was a report immediately following from some that Portland would not be in on Jaylen Brown. And so now you've got this mishmash of guards of Drew Holiday, Scoot Henderson, Damian Lillard, John Morant. Like, what exactly are they trying out there?
Including Shaedon Sharpe, who's a magnificent athlete, but clearly needs time to play. And now that would make your fifth or sixth guard that these guys have to find minutes for and rotations for. And they got a brand new head coach. I just don't know what they're doing. And so unless they've got more plans, I don't believe they're out of the Jaylen Brown sweepstakes. I don't, because you have to figure out a way to make this roster even. No GM would do this without another move under their belt, I don't think.
John Browner from Sporting Tribune is up on ESPN Las Vegas, ESPN Reno, on Cofield and Company. What is it with Jaylen Brown? We talked about him at length in hour number 1 of this show. Why is he available? Why is the market sort of tepid, if that's to be believed? What are the marks against Jaylen Brown that you see?
Jaylen Brown, this is my own personal opinion. I like the way he handles his business, but he talks too much. For a content person, this is great. Yeah. For an NBA organization, he talks entirely too much. The Twitch stream appears to be a problem for the Boston front office. It appears to be an issue within the team because I'll ask a better question. Let me reverse this. Where the hell is Jason Tatum? Where, with all this going on, you win a championship with this man. Where is Jason Tatum? Where is his partner in crime? He's nowhere to be found on the stream. He doesn't appear to be vocal around this situation at all. And I think the hesitation from teams around the league to trade for Jaylen Brown is 2 things. One, he seems to be very assured of himself, which I don't disagree with. He's a great player. But Boston apparently wants 5 first-round picks for him. So something's going to have to give. Either Boston's going to have to come off these picks, or they're going to have to arrange a very expensive lunch for Jaylen Brown to have somewhere in Boston to work this out. And I just don't see that second one happening.
John Browner with Cofield and Company. All right, Knicks. Maybe Mitchell Robinson's the only guy they don't have back. We haven't seen any updates on him. Alvarado and Landry Shamet are back. Do you like that the Knicks are pretty much going to come back with the same team?
Yes and no. Yes and no, because the vibes this year were immaculate. And because the rest of the Eastern Conference seems to be falling in pieces, Miami's with Giannis is probably worse than they were last year because they have nothing around him and Bam. You don't really know what young Orlando is. You don't really know if AD is going to stay in D.C. So there's a lot. Philly's too injured. There's a lot of moving parts. Detroit's good, but they still haven't gotten a second score. And it appears the Pistons front office is balking on Jalen Duran's max contract because he was All-NBA. So I just don't know what the Eastern Conference looks like. So you might be able to ride those vibes again, but you need Mitchell Robinson to do that. You really do, in my opinion. You need Mitchell Robinson more than you need Alvarado. You need him more than you need any of these ancillary parts that you've already re-signed. So I hope they figure that out. But James Dolan already said he ain't paying a tax. So it looked like it's curtains for Mitchell Robinson.
What do you make of Minnesota trading in size for speed? Naz Reid's gone. Obviously, Julius Randle's gone. They bring in LaMelo Ball. They re-sign Ayo Dosunmu. This is a completely looking different team than the one that made it to the Western Conference Finals 3 straight years. What do you make of what they've been doing?
Depends on what you think of LaMelo. I thought LaMelo finally found his footing. They put a good team around him. Miller was great. they had the rookie come in and make a billion threes. The team seemed to be constructed the way that LaMelo played. And now it seems like they sold high. They got his stock up as high as they could, and they sold him to a team that apparently had been chasing him for a couple of years. But I like this for Minnesota because Julius Randle was empty calories. And now that kind of proved itself out. They had to do something else to keep this roster fresh and to give Anthony Edwards another opportunity for a bona fide playmaker. Not that Julius Randle wasn't, but it wasn't effective in a way that contributed to winning in the postseason. And so I'm very interested to see what this team looks like with LaMelo Ball, with Anthony Edwards and Ayo Dosunmu and Jalen McDaniels and Rudy Gobert. Defensively, this team looks amazing. But we've got to see it on paper. And so I expect for them to compete, but I need to see it.
An extension of that with the Hornets at the very least. Are the Suns the worst-run organization outside of the Kings? What are they doing? They trade a first-round pick for Miles Bridges and a little bit more with Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal. Why is this team refusing to steer into this rebuild to what? Get maybe an 8 seed?
I think Matt Ishbia thinks he's smarter than everyone else. Because that's what this reeks of. This reeks of a guy who owns the team and just thinks he can do things. Thinks he's very Sacramento Kinging it. He thinks that he's smarter than everybody else because he made a lot of money. And so he thinks that he has some insight somewhere where it doesn't exist. And I really think that this is what bad franchises do. They put bad money behind more bad money behind more bad money. And Devin Booker's so rich at this point, I think him and Kawhi Leonard have a lot in common. They're just hooping. Just make sure my check shows up, and I'm going to play basketball. In the Kawhi sense, either L.A., Toronto, San Antonio. If my check comes, I play. And that really feels like what's happening with Phoenix and Devin Booker.
John Browner with us from the Sporting Tribune. Make sure you check it out on Twitter, @SportingTrib. So I saw that you retweeted one of our posts when we were talking about Aubrey Huff. I don't know if you got wind of this whole story last week, but Aubrey Huff was real mad about the Pride Month thing in San Francisco. People came at him, and then he went back at people saying that he would DM his home address and that people should come and tell him to his face what they were saying about him. And we were trying to handicap all the Cofield and Company contributors and who would have a chance against 6'4", 240-pound Aubrey Huff. We have a lot of big guys, but maybe not fit guys. We don't have enough offensive linemen on the show. Maybe I'll have to beef up that front. John, how big are you?
Like my
6'7", 205.
205.
Oh, so you're
9 foot standing reach.
You're a little guy. You're a little guy. Okay.
He went right for the reach. He's like, can he get to me? Can Aubrey Huff get to me?
Listen, if it came between me and Aubrey Huff, they picking him up off the floor.
Ooh.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Listen, man, I love that you guys had that conversation because I think a lot of times too many people are steering away from things that need to be discussed. If we really feel like that Pride Night, because they have it here in San Diego, the San Diego Padres do a great job of promoting Pride Night here locally. Yeah. If this is going to be a part of how we grow and we get better as a country, or we get better from community to community, you've got to let people in. And if some of the players on the Giants, including these bozos in the bullpen, if you are that against, Pride Night, just don't go to work, bro. Just don't go to work. Don't draw attention to yourself by writing something on your hat. Just don't wear the pride hat. Like, at some point, these guys have to understand the world's going to keep moving with or without you. And you need to either get on or get off. And apparently, Aubrey Huff wants to get off and fight when he gets off. So I'm game.
John, we appreciate it. Have a good week. We want to talk to you next week. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
We don't have to really set up fights. We're just having fun. The odds will come out tomorrow. We'll have fun.
Live from the Findlay Toyota studio, you're listening to ESPN Las Vegas.
All right, here we go. 5 o'clock hour. Cofield and Company will give away, we got some cool giveaways coming up. Should have that ready to go. A 4-pack of Aviators tickets. Please remind me, because I say this sometimes and the tickets don't go out. In the next 20 minutes or so, Aviators in Tacoma coming up on July 9th. I want to remind you your last chance today on the code word of the day for our Lotus Summer of Fun giveaway. It's all about America and 4th of July, and we're giving away domestic trips. All you got to do is text in the keyword of the day. The keyword of the day. We have a different word every day. Thank you for calling. Appreciate that. 364-1100 is the text line. 702-364-1100 is the text line. Our keyword of the day today is red. All-American themed, red, R-E-D, and our trip is to South Dakota, Yellowstone. You can take the trip or you can take the money. They'll give you the details when you win. It's all brought to you by Terribles, Bay Law Injury Attorneys, and ESPN Las Vegas. Lotus Summer Fun every day. Cofield & Company gives you the keyword of the day. Text it in when you can. I would do it soon for today. 702-364-1100. The code word is red. Von Tobel's here. James is here. John was just talking about his weekend where he ate a lot, hung at a bar. Yes. I hope you can tell that story down the road. And then you were doing some tomfoolery, as guys will do, where you're trying to replicate a box jump in someone's backyard.
Yeah, it's our buddy Kevin's backyard, and he's got a pretty high wall. I showed you a video of it.
He's got those brick stackers.
Yeah.
Which, that looked to me like it was 3 feet high.
Yeah. So I think it was in that range, about 36 inches.
Standing jump, right? Or did you lean?
Standing.
Really?
Standing jump.
You could do that.
Oh, yeah, buddy. Oh, yeah. Telling you, this grind has been real, Steve. One of 2 people that night that achieved the goal. I have to finish showing you the video as old producer Danny Smythe was there as well. And you'll see in this video.
Danny's not going to try it, is he?
Watch this attempt. Yeah, it doesn't even. No.
If you're a cat lunatic like I am, every once in a while you'll see cat videos where a cat, they're supposed to be able to jump, and a cat will just abort the jump. That was Danny. Danny, so we've been talking a lot about these potential radio, TV, former athlete fights. Yeah. And last week we got into Rob Parker called Boomer Esiason the worst of the worst, and over on our sister station, Fox Sports Las Vegas, Covino and Rich were handicapping a fight between Rob Parker and Boomer. We know Aubrey Huff was threatening people, the former Major League Baseball player, to he would DM them his address, and you would go and say to his face what you were saying on social media. And I was trying to think of the size of the Cofield & Company crew, like who would walk up to a guy. Like I said, I think Aubrey Huff is probably, I don't know what he weighs now, but he's 6'4", like 240. We have a lot of bulk on our staff. It's not all fit bulk.
Very true.
And some of our regulars are good sized guys. I realized when I was trying to handicap 6'4", 240 against people on the show, and who would stand in front of them and say it, like we don't have enough offensive linemen.
No, we
don't. Why don't we have? We need that. That's something I need to beef up. One of the hallmarks of this show was, as I was getting fatter, I would get bigger and bigger people around me, so it would slim me a little bit. It didn't in reality. It did in reality. But I think we've got Adam over 300 pounds. I don't know where Adam is now. You're down to under 240. Mm-hmm. I think the other day. And I'm not saying these people are fighters. I'm just saying just like bulk, I think Parle said he's 251 now. And I think Jeff's probably like 6'3".
Jeff is not 6'3".
6'2"? He's pretty tall.
I know. We're pretty close to the same height.
You're right. I might have overdone it.
Yeah. I was going to say, Jeff not 6'3".
Willie has a bum leg. Willie is 5'8". Probably 215. What? Is 5'8" too much?
Minus 2.15 inches.
Whatever.
I love Willie.
Yeah.
Do you count? So you know who I've been talking to the last couple of days?
That doesn't mean any of these people can fight.
Yeah. But you know who?
But I think there is a big guy syndrome. Like big guys. Like to me, Aubrey Huff sounds like Biff.
Right.
Like he was Biff in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Or like. I guess, would he be closer to Ogre or Stan Gable in Revenge of the Nerds?
You lost me on those references.
You know Revenge of the Nerds?
I know who Biff is. I don't know any of those ones.
Right. Back to the Future Biff.
Yeah.
Like classic high school bully.
Sure.
And there's a bigness, and they're like, let's go.
I know somebody.
Say it to my face!
Affiliated with Cofield & Company that would unequivocally step forward to Aubrey Huff and defend the rights of others.
I mean, Danny is, what's Danny? 6'2", over 300?
It's not Danny.
Danny's not a fighter either.
No.
Like, who likes situations like that?
I don't think it's somebody that likes situations like that, but would unequivocally stand up.
Couldn't contain themselves?
Yeah. He moved to the Czech Republic.
Oh, I don't know. He is a white knight.
Taylor is a white knight. Taylor Byrne, formerly of the company.
But John Browner was just on, and John said he's 6'7", 205. I know the 6'7".
Taylor's 6'6" and 110.
I think Taylor's 6'8", and you're right. He's like
110
Sophie Cunningham bulk-wise.
Yeah. He's small, dude. But he would. You know he would. He would say something.
He'd get mouthy.
Yeah.
I like mouthiness.
He'd get broken in half.
I like angst.
I mean, I'm down with it. Ace is fine. Angren's fine. I've gotten into arguments. I've stood up.
Let's go. Say it to my face. Okay.
I may or may not have done that at the place in which I'm recently employed, or currently employed, standing in right now.
I've seen you do it here before.
Yeah. I may or may not have.
Enough's enough.
Forced us to go to break 1 or 2 times and told the 2 people in the room to shut the F up during the commercial break.
You did tell Adam Hill and I that one time
It's a great story.
we were bullying John, and he just had enough.
And I went to commercial break without being told to, and I told him, you both better shut up. Oh, dude, it was great. I kind of feel bad because in a roundabout way, I both just was like, I think I called Adam fat or something like that, and I said, you're always gargling in the damn mic, and you won't shut up. And you're telling me about my updates? Like, dude, I lost it.
I think you stumbled on a word, and that was it. Like, we busted your chops about it, and there was one too many times doing it, and that was it.
And then I was forever endeared to Cofield and Company history. You got to stick up for yourself.
Well, that's definitely part of Sports Talk Radio, is the bullying by the host on the producer. And basically it's a test with the producer. Like, just stand up for yourself. That's all. And once you do it, then we back off.
And I did.
Huh, you did. That was great. That was great. Listen, one of my favorite people to work with, because he's a psycho, is Brandon Tierney, who we talk about often. He was on WFAN for a long time, and now he's doing his own thing on YouTube. And he's involved in his war of words with, Geo on FAN. But he's a real life lunatic. So we had a guy way back in the day at Sports Fan Radio Network who he did the reverse. He would bully everyone, and then everyone's like, he's kind of crazy. And Saul Moskowitz. And Saul he'd play with the board is what he would do. Like, you wouldn't have your mic up, or you'd be going out to commercial. He would just turn you down. He'd misplay bites on purpose just to get people rankled. But everyone was like, oh my God, this guy's kind of scary. And he did it to Brandon Tierney one time, and that was not good. And I was around, and I don't know what I did. I hit like a cup of water off the counter, and he was like, I'm going to call the cops. And I'm like, I thought we were going to bully. Let's go. Come on, bully. Now the other important thing is when you do this, you have to pick your opponents selectively. Like the guy was a little roly-poly, like 35-year-old guy. He wasn't going to do crap. Now, one of the smallest guys I've ever worked with, he's legitimately crazy, and that was the Unibobby Machado.
Oh yeah, Bobby's crazy.
Like, that's you have to gauge like lunacy, true lunacy in someone.
Bobby's insane.
We saw him like 3 weeks ago, and I don't know what he didn't have his teeth in or something. And I was like, whoa, okay, that's another look that goes even further over the top. It's all like we said on Friday, right?
I believe God fears Bobby.
We just walk. You walk around, you size people up. That's what life's about. You're always on standby.
Well, I saw a good one. I saw a guy I could totally kill the other day. It was great.
You sized him up?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, I take that guy down.
Now, you told a story earlier. We were talking about Floyd Mayweather having some money problems, and Dana White was like, maybe we should talk. Maybe there's something we can do for him. And I was saying, I feel kind of bad for Floyd that this has happened to him if it is, this bad. And then you came over the top with a story that what happened? Floyd had rented a bounce house, and you were the bounce house guy?
So I used to have a job where I would deliver bounce houses around Las Vegas and for a party company. And so Floyd had ordered a bounce house and party favors. I think it was like a cotton candy machine, whatever it was. So I would go and deliver these and set them up in people's homes. Now, usually you would like a tip, whatever. But Floyd, I did not get a tip for setting up this bounce house in his backyard. But what made it even worse was that not only did I not get a tip, but he did not turn his sprinkler system off. So when I got there the next day to pick the bounce house up, it was completely flooded with water. And for those who don't know,
Did it
many
get
of
in?
you don't. Oh, yeah.
Oh, forget it.
And for those who don't know about these bounce houses, I mean, they're already heavy enough as it is.
What do you do?
To have to flip, you have to like flip it
With
and
water
drain
in it.
Yeah, and you have to drain it, and it's such a process. And he let that happen, and told him I was like, all right, I'm all done. Now I never met him; it was his people, and they were just like, all right, thanks, and shut the door in my face. And I was like, all right, cool, appreciate the help there.
702-364-1100 is our text line.
No tip.
Our Baylaw injury attorney's text line. Alan texted in and said, I too was stiff by Floyd. Now, this is a person telling stories. I don't know if this is true. Early 2000s, working room service at the Luxor. Who stand at the Luxor? Brought the. And the claim is, I guess he brought Floyd bottled water. A crack in the door opened. His hand reached out, grabbed the water, slammed the door shut. I don't believe that.
I mean, maybe he was in the midst of doing something.
I think there's just as many more good stories about Floyd being very generous around town. And
I could think of
the Applebee's up at Spring Mountain and Rainbow. I know his group used to frequent that spot. TMT would go in there, and they would. From what I heard, they would tip very nicely.
Did they get the Fiesta Lime chicken? It's one of my favorites.
I don't know what they got. It's a long time ago.
I mean, I think that's a real story. I can think of a lot of strenuous hotel room activities in which you would probably not want to open the door all the way and just reach out and grab a bottle of water.
You're going to keep going down this path that he was doinking or something, and he needed water, and he was like, I don't have time. I'm not going to show my naked self to you. Is that the story you're twirling here? Alan didn't say any of that, by the way. You're just
there's context clues.
Just adding on. In a couple of weeks, I think we're going to be broadcasting from the Mountain West Conference Football Media Days. Ooh. And one of my favorite things in the preseason is to debate the all-conference teams. And the coaches like this too. The preseason prediction, oftentimes from the media, the preseason poll. Like last year, I don't think you were there at Mountain West Conference Basketball Media Day with Jared Calhoun.
No.
Where I brought it up to Jared Calhoun that I think they got selected like third or fourth in the Mountain West Conference. And he looked at me deadpan and he's like, what do you guys know? You don't know anything. So I fired back. I was like, well, I tried to study a little bit. Like, I don't have film on, your freshman from Paul VI. I guess I could have. I could have just watched his high school play. But I said, I treated it with some respect.
Mm-hmm.
But in a way, he's right. With the transfer portal, like, did everyone have a good read on MJ Collins from Vandy? And what, VTech before that? No. I don't think people factor that in. Now, if I remember correctly, Utah State was my choice for number 2 in the Mountain West Conference. San Diego State was my pick for number 1. That didn't work out that well. They didn't have a great season. Are these polls worthless in the transfer portal era, and especially on the football front? And are they damaging? Because in the case of, say, the Big 12, when you've got a conference that goes 12, 14, 16 deep, and say, I think it was a couple years ago. Was it last year? I think it was a couple years ago. BYU was picked like 15th. Mm-hmm. And then it felt like they could never climb high enough to overcome those, because a lot of times those preseason polls then go into what people put together as national polls.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
The Big 12 said last year, we're not doing it anymore. Mm-hmm. We're out. The Mountain West is doing the same thing. Mountain West will not have a preseason poll. The reason listed is, quote, due to conference realignment. What do you think that means?
That I didn't understand. I mean, you can know enough about these teams. Only one of them is coming in from a different division entirely, so you can't sit there and say, oh, well, none of you have ever really seen NIU or UTEP, so we're just going to give you the year off. I just don't understand that.
That is kind of what they're saying. Why not just say it? We have lost trust in the media's ability, whoever's going to pick the preseason poll, to do this accurately. You guys are idiots.
Are they afraid that these people are so uneducated about North Dakota State that North Dakota State as a new member will be picked like second to last?
Do you believe
it'll be embarrassing that then they make it to the Mountain West Championship game?
Do you believe that would happen?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just trying to spitball because I don't understand that logic. That line of thinking does not make sense to me.
No.
Can I ask you a question? So you voted in one of these before?
Yes.
What do you vote on in terms of, because I've asked this question to Adam the year that Neverett made headlines when he voted UNLV first.
Yeah, Matt Neverett.
Yeah.
Yep.
And my question was, when you have a vote, are you voting and ranking these teams in where they are at before the season begins, or where you think they will finish when the season ends? Because I think those are two different things.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a young team, but with some upward, with some guys that can grow, realistically, I'm not going to put you ahead of a team that's got 13 guys, 14 guys back, and juniors and seniors. But you could realistically,
I would
take big steps forward.
I would. It's me predicting what's going to happen throughout the season.
Okay,
not the beginning of the season.
I think it's a fair question to ask, because I think that does matter with how some of these media members view what their vote actually is and why they're so all over the place sometimes.
I think it's not a fail-safe. What's the right terminology? A good backup to be able to trust people doing a preseason poll is I think most people are aware of sportsbook odds. So I think you'd be a moron not to mix sportsbook odds and then do your own research when you're picking. Yeah. So if North Dakota State has now been installed, now that they are eligible to play in the Mountain West Conference title game and compete for the regular season title, if they've been installed as a 3-1 favorite, third choice in the conference, then you would be an idiot if you picked them. And hey, you can make a big case because, like you said, I don't remember exactly where UNLV was on the odds board the year that Matt Neverett picked them.
They were a pretty decent shot. Yeah.
Was that Odom year one?
I believe it was, yeah.
Right? If they were 6th that year,
and
he picked them to win it, he did back it up.
He did.
Eventually, when Adam Hill did a story on Matt months later, or actually no, he did it.
No, he did it
relatively recently. Did it around the time of July and August. He backed it up.
Is maybe the conference thinking, holy smokes, 2 of our 3 members are awful, and we don't want our new Mountain West poll to have the two of the 3 new members finish last and second to last?
I don't know.
Because they would realistically.
We'll ask them. I don't know.
UTEP, NIU. They're not going to finish any higher than that if you had a preseason poll.
I'm not willing to say that yet.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll ask you this way: realistically, what's the ceiling for those two programs from a projected vote standpoint?
Middle of the conference. I don't think either one's going to win it.
Right. So it's a bad look for a conference.
But I also believe that if they've got some more competent quarterback play, that Choate has built something here, that 30-1 odds for Nevada to win the conference is a little crazy. I think they're going to be improved.
That improved, huh?
Now, I will say they'll be improved or else. There's some pressure.
Yeah, there has to be. You can only sell we're turning kids around to the Power 5 programs, and they're doing great when they leave us. I understand the logic when he said that, but in terms of keeping your job, that can't be the selling point.
That program has way too proud a tradition to be mired with 1, 2, or 3 wins multiple years in a row.
Feels like a decade.
They have some challenges with funding. It's not that bad.
I would agree.
So we'll see. But I love the preseason polls. I think some coaches can use it as motivation. It's a good talking point later in the season to see how bad the polls were. And it's harder than ever, though. I fully admit it. Harder than ever to actually be educated on what schools are going to do. I mean, amazingly, from that year that never picked UNLV first, the benefit of the doubt that UNLV gets now is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, they lost a lot of talent from last year's roster. They're going to turn the roster over, maybe not to the tune of like 50 new players, but probably above 35.
Including a quarterback.
And yes, and the most important position is a question mark. I think Jackson Arnold is going to be very good. Depth of quarterback's going to be interesting. Is Alec Norgie going to be 100% healthy?
So for our
so just the benefit of the doubt, like, hey, UNLV is one of the favorites. And not on the sportsbook odds boards, but almost everywhere else, they are picked. What was it? CBS Sports had a national poll they put out last week, and I think New Mexico was 79th, and UNLV was 46th in the country. It's a pretty big gap. But again, Dan Mullen had success last year. This is the 4th year in a row they could be making a run at 9 or 10 wins. Could.
Yeah. So over at VSiN, we're having our college football guide, and I'm writing up the Mountain West. And so the format we're doing is 3 burning questions for every team. And so one of my questions for UNLV is essentially, can the run at quarterback continue? Because they've had a really good run. I have multiple quarterbacks, too, in single years, which is crazy. So you do wonder, logically one day that's not going to keep going, but to use your term, they've had the benefit of the doubt of both Odom and Mullen coming in and just being like, no, we'll make it work with whoever's playing quarterback. And it's worked.
Doesn't always work, though.
No.
Because remember, Jade Maiava was not the starter year one.
No.
And he freaking turned that offense on its ear, and Ricky White then developed into an all-world type player. The next year, they were going with Sluka. He turned out to be a knucklehead, and Hodge Malik Williams did a really good job. Last year, there was hope that, hey, Calandry is a talented guy.
Yep.
The Mountain West Conference Offensive Player of the Year, talented?
Incredible.
Yep. And the funny thing is, Jackson Arnold, of all those guys I just mentioned, just on talent and reputation and ceiling, is the most ballyhooed of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Will he do it? I think he can,
Mm-hmm.
but what if he doesn't?
And if he doesn't, Alex Orji is coming off of a very serious injury. And we got to ask him at spring training, and he said all the right things about trusting your body to be able to do the things that you used to do before the injury, but saying it is one thing, being able to do it is another. And as we had discussed that day too, they were seemingly kind of slow rolling him still a little bit in terms of the physicality just because they wanted to make sure he's ready to go. So we're not saying they can't do this, but that is a massive question for them.
Giveaway time, Aviators in Tacoma on July 9th, Ticketmaster.com. 4 tickets to go see Las Vegas Aviators taking on Tacoma on July 9th. Caller 7, 364-1100, 364-1100. 4 tickets to caller number 7.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
All right, time to talk a little football and NBA. Our buddy Caleb Herring joins us every Monday, the former quarterback for the Rebels, analyst for the Rebels on the radio side, co-host of The Coach's Show, the Dan Mullen radio show. Caleb, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. It's a beautiful day today. I don't know what the weather was about, but it was fantastic. I had a very productive day. I'm doing good. How about you guys? What's going on?
We're good. We were just talking about the Mountain West Conference deciding not to have a preseason poll in advance of Mountain West Conference football media days. They said that was due to conference realignment. I don't know what that means, but is it the right move to move away from these preseason polls?
I think it could be considered right. I don't know if I would go that far, like right or wrong. I don't know if there is a right or wrong to this. It's entertainment. Some people like it. Some people don't. I do think that there is, and as you pointed out last year, I think you had pretty much a run-in with a coach. I don't know if I call it a run-in, but just kind of like these preseason polls don't mean as much, especially in this new era, the transfer portal, conference realignment, specifically with Mountain West this year for football, but basketball as well. All these sports are transitioning from what teams are even in the league. So I think it doesn't have as much value if there was any value before. But I don't think that was ever the point of these preseason polls. I think it was just to get people engaged and excited about something for the upcoming season. It's like, a preview to a movie. It doesn't tell you the whole plot. You don't know. There's still plot twists that make a movie great, that make the season itself great when you're talking about sports. But the preseason hype kind of gets you excited about what is to come or what could be potentially to come. A lot of times they're wrong. These preseason rankings are absolutely wrong. There's no base for them, especially with the transfer portal and conference realignment. The Mountain West doesn't know Northern Illinois to make some sort of judgment about who's all conference on their team or not. We don't even know what the conference is. Like what is all conference? Ashton Jeanty was an all conference running back 2 years ago in the Mountain West. We're not going to have a Ashton Jeanty. Sorry to say that, Jet, but we're not going to have that type of performance in the season to be like, this is all Mountain West. This is what that means. So it is kind of pointless at some points, but I don't know if I'd say it's right to get rid of it.
Caleb Herring's with us. So one of the cool things that you guys do around the UNLV football community is you put together a UNLV QB alumni dinner. Tell us about this. Where was it? Was it at someone's house? Who showed up?
Yeah, so it's a kind of a newer tradition, and we're trying to, along with the Rebel Foundation and Alumni Association, trying to reach back across the young history, really, of UNLV football and trying to keep engaged with the alumni that have come, the alumnus who have come through and played football, and specifically the quarterback group, because we all know the quarterback is the toughest position to play. UNLV has not had a great track record at the position, especially in recent years, in terms of extended success. And Steve Stallworth thought it would be a great idea to kind of put this UNLV quarterback fraternity into a physical form, and at least once a year try to get together with all the former QBs of yesteryear and meet with the current UNLV quarterbacks and kind of introduce them to what it is to be a Rebel. A lot of people maybe outside of Las Vegas don't realize how passionate Las Vegas is or was about UNLV sports in general, but about Rebel football. And there is still something there to be tapped in, even if it's from a yesteryear perspective. But Steve Stallworth hosted a dinner. He and his wife, they hosted a dinner for us this year, the second annual. And a lot of guys were there. Jason Thomas was there. Haj Malik actually came all the way back from Atlanta for this. Steve Stallworth, of course, myself. Hunky Cooper made an appearance, as well as the four quarterbacks in the room right now. Alex Orji and Jackson Arnold, of course, at the top of that list. Derek Garcia as well was there. And a couple of members of the coaching staff just hanging out, telling stories, getting to know each other before the season starts, and kind of discussing and talking about what it is to play quarterback at UNLV.
So, what do we think personality-wise of the current room? Is that the first time you got some extended time with them? What do you make of who they are as guys?
Yeah, that was my first engagement with him, hands-on, altogether at least. I mean, I've talked to Alex Orji before. Obviously, he was on the roster last year. But everybody else is, Garcia is obviously, fresh out of high school. And Jackson Arnold has been around, but I've been around the country, not at UNLV. This is his 6 months he's been here, really. So this is my first time actually sitting in a room with these guys. And I'll say they're good young men. And it's funny in a world where the transfer portal has made such the media and us, have made sort of our opinions known about what the potential harm could be of the transfer portal, and guys are going to be selfish and yada, yada, yada. I got none of that from any of these guys. And I'm not naive enough to think that they gave me their true character in this setting, right? But I think from my perspective, it was as lax as you could be in terms of the pressure to say the right things. We all kind of opened up and joked and all that kind of stuff, but they just seemed like a good group of guys. And more importantly, they seem to really like each other. And seeing guys hang out and kind of mingle with each other, you kind of observe that, especially in a competitive quarterback room where there's some competition there. So it's like you never want to get bitter. But these guys seem like really good young men, and I can say that after meeting them. Hopefully get to know them a little better. Their stories that they told, I probably will ask their permission during the broadcast to share some of the stuff that they shared with me. But it was good to get to know them. It was really good.
Caleb Herring's with us. I wish you had this dinner with Sluka and Haj Malik and the rest of the room back then. I wonder what your impression would have been if Sluka would have come off poorly. I don't think Sluka was a terrible person. My time around him, and especially during games, there was a vibe. Like, I got why he was a potential starting quarterback in college football. He was much different than Haj Malik. And then we saw when Sluka pulled what he did, like, players were more than willing to come out on social media and be like, basically, good riddance. I always find it interesting to be, especially since you were a quarterback. Quarterback's a different breed, and you have this next level ability to kind of judge and pick up on things.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see, because I do think I'm a good judge of character. That's not even really toot my own horn. I hope it doesn't sound like that, but I do think I have a knack for it. I will say this from my perspective of Sluka specifically. I could recognize that he was standoffish, but I couldn't recognize why. And that would probably be my assessment of what I knew about him before. I was just as surprised as everybody else when he did what he did in terms of exiting and demanding and all that. I didn't see that coming. But characters revealed slowly, I guess, and I think that's one of the things that he'll probably regret later down the road if he doesn't already, the way that all shook down. But it would have been interesting to get him in a room like this to see if any inklings of that spilled out. And not that I would use it to, a recruiting advantage or anything like that. That's not what this is for. But just for my own edification as a quarterback, as a former quarterback, to know kind of where the mind of another guy is to determine if they're really ready to go out there and lead a football team.
What do you think of me as a character?
I think you are the class clown of a locker room. I think you're necessary. You're necessary in a locker room.
Wait, is that good?
Yeah, you get people through camp is how we put it. Like having you around would make fall camp fun. Make it a good experience.
I'll have you know that DeMarco Murray's nothing if not for playing around JVT as a freshman when JVT was a bloated offensive lineman at 14 years old.
That's correct. He gave me amino acids one day when I was cramping, and he'll never forget it.
He's like, who the hell are you? I love the mental part of the quarterback thing and how they present themselves. And I remember last year when we first started talking to Anthony Calandria, I was wondering to myself, like, hey, you know what? He kind of had a rough time at Virginia and wound up bailing, and they got frustrated that he got sat down. And I wonder how Jackson Arnold comes across, because he could come across as a guy who's got to rebuild entirely from a mental standpoint after 2 rough stops where they had super high expectations for him.
Yeah, that's as much about his history as much of it's already known, like his struggles or his failure to meet expectations out of high school, transferring and again failing to meet expectations at a new school, I think is documented well. But I think what isn't documented well, as you kind of put there, is the quarterback's mental response to the situation. I think just about every quarterback, this room in particular, the UNLV, our fraternity there, and any quarterback I know has had a dark moment in their career where it was in doubt. They weren't going to make it. They weren't good enough. You name it, their story. I have my story. Hajj Malik Williams had his story last season or a couple seasons ago. You name it. Jason Thomas, just recounting his story and what he went through and his recruitment. There's always this dark moment that you have to overcome. I think that strengthens your resolve in the position that you're playing and gives you a new outlook on it. I think it's unique to the quarterback position because of the pressure. I don't think there's a harder position in sports to play than quarterback. And Jackson Arnold, in this case, speaking about him, I won't go into detail specifically about it, but his response is the response you want. I think he has the perspective after his struggle to see football for what it is and to really appreciate and try to take advantage of the chances that he has remaining. And I don't know how many there are, but he seems inspired by what he's gone through to do better. So that's how I'll sum it up. I think that's the response I would like to see out of my quarterback if I was taking a chance on a transfer that bounced around a couple of times.
Caleb, did you see a new color analyst has been added to the TV side for CBS? What do you think of Brian Kelly on Mountain West Conference games?
I did see that. It's kind of shocking. I mean, you would think the broadcast booth would welcome him to maybe the Big Ten, but I guess he spent a lot of time in a non-affiliated program that wasn't affiliated conference, and maybe doesn't have those kind of ties. I doubt it. Brian Kelly doesn't have ties in all of college football, but Mountain West just kind of shocked me that that's where he ended up. I think he has a very great football mind, so I am interested to hear how it sounds coming through a broadcast, how that 3-man team is going to work. And I'm sure, it's not official yet, but I'm sure he'll be at Allegiant Stadium quite a bit with what UNLV is projected to be, the national televised slate in the Mountain West. I think they'll probably have a lot of him at Allegiant Stadium, so I'll figure it out. I'll get to meet him. I don't know if I'll be starstruck. Do you get starstruck around coaches that are that big of names? I don't know. But I'd love to kind of sit with him and talk about his career and what he's transitioning from coaching to the booth and see how that's going for him.
I'll book him for you. I got him. Get him on UNLV pregame. Why not?
I mean, we should. He's a conference affiliate now.
I like the confidence. I'll get him for you. Okay. All right, let's talk about the potential old guy reunion. Caleb Herring's with us in San Fran with the Warriors. Could this happen with LeBron plus AD added to Dr. Dre and Steph?
So here's the thing. I think this is, if it did happen, I would say this would probably be the best assembled talent that the league has ever seen in terms of the players and the way they complement each other. Wow. I think LeBron James as a floor general, Draymond Green as a sacrificial lamb doing whatever he needs to do, scrapping, clawing, setting screens to get Steph open, and Anthony Davis, who when he wants to be, is a dominant 4/5 in this league. I think it would be the greatest starting lineup that we've seen assembled. You could probably throw JVT out there with his 36-inch box jumps and get a championship done.
Standing box jump.
So I think it would be great from that historic perspective. I think for everyone involved, really two people involved, you have to, if this happens, remove them from the greatest of all time conversation. I think at this point in their career, if Steph and LeBron do that, the greatest of all time title in my book is removed unequivocally for the reason of teaming up one too many times. But the domino of Draymond not re-signing is hard to say that this hasn't been talked about, but it is a possibility that's been talked about as leverage for each individual because there's a connection between all of them. So, I mean, it could be a negotiating tool for Draymond in free agency, for LeBron, kind of stick it to the Lakers, which I'm thinking is probably what he's really trying to do. But it happening would be absolutely a talent thing. It'd be probably the most favored team ever to win a championship in that year.
So you just mentioned sticking it to the Lakers. One of your headlines today was LeBron holding the Lakers hostage. What do you mean?
Well, apparently, if you listen to all the latest reports, LeBron has just been golfing all offseason. I know he ended the year after getting swept, by the way, by saying that, he's going to take his time. And the Lakers responded by saying, we're going to let him. He's earned that right to take as much time as he needs. I don't think the Lakers anticipated the day before free agency still not having any idea where LeBron stood on his contract. And again, from reports, he has not engaged in any conversation. He's been on the golf course. So I don't know what that means. I don't know what he's planning, but this is why JVT and I think, agree that LeBron should have been traded last offseason. When you landed Luka Doncic, and it was clear to everyone that he was the direction you were going in, you can't have two alphas with the ball. Like, it just doesn't work. And they tried to make it work last year and had pretty good results. But I think the keys to the franchise of Los Angeles should have been handed to Luka. And you can only do that by removing the current team, which is LeBron James. He should have been traded for value last year. Now, again, the franchise is stuck waiting for what he wants to do with his free agency to decide how they're going to manage the $50 million plus that they have in cap space. So it's unfortunate, but the Lakers are really in a bind, and they're at the behest of LeBron James.
It's interesting because it depends on which reports you believe in the wording, because some reports, Caleb, said that the Lakers had not reached out to LeBron and that his camp was waiting this whole time.
And I think that would be a foolish thing. If the Lakers haven't reached out, again, playing devil, it could go both ways. I think the Lakers could really be disrespecting LeBron in that way. But I just don't see that as a realistic option. Like, they signed contracts. They're working on Rui. I mean, I think you'd want to talk to LeBron first, especially when you consider the fact that LeBron's talking about just walking out. Like, it's not like there's an option there to intrigue him or extend him. It's like just walking out for nothing. I'd at least like to know, if I'm the Lakers, that that's what's happening to me. So I'd ask, like, hey, you planning on leaving this high and dry like that, or are you really interested in coming to the table for a realistic number, taking a pay cut, and helping us build this roster to be a contender with you and Luka? That would be my thing. I seem like that's the obvious conversation you want to bring up to the Lakers. But if they really haven't reached out to him, then shame on them.
Can I read a news report really quickly for Caleb to send him out on? Jalen Duren has now scheduled a call in a meeting with the Los Angeles Lakers. There you go.
So we send LeBron to the Pistons with Cunningham. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, that sounds great. Lovely. For the East. Have fun.
You might be onto something. All right, we'll build on that. Caleb, have a great week. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks, man.
Take care, guys.
There he is, Caleb Herring, the former quarterback with the Rebels, regular on Cofield and Company, and a co-host on the Dan Mullen radio show. Giveaway time, Smash Mouth is playing at the 4th, at the, I got way too fired up over Smash Mouth, at the pool at the Sahara on the 4th of July, Smash Mouth. Good stuff. Pair of tickets to see Smash Mouth at the pool at the Sahara. You can grab your tickets at Ticketmaster.com, but right now a pair going out with James, 364-1100, caller 7.
I'm attorney Paul Powell. A lot of lawyers
Cofield and Company presents Grab Bag on ESPN Las Vegas.
Stick your hand in there, Dave.
All right, crazy day in the World Cup. Germany's out, right?
They're out. Dunzo. Round of 32. Knocked out. Second team eliminated.
Went to PKs, and Paraguay outdueled them. So Germany is out. We are headed towards A's baseball against the Dodgers right here on ESPN Las Vegas.
Can I?
Yeah, of course. You can do whatever you want.
Okay. I do hate this. Earlier in the program, I did say that I'm getting tired of X.
Right.
But, man, the social media activity around this World Cup has been so good.
Just when you think you're out,
yep,
they draw you back in.
Some of these tweets are so good. Anyway, I apologize.
You wet the whistle on the NBA rumor front with Jalen Duren. So first of all, tell people who he is, because I think even though he's in Detroit and they were really good this year, I don't think people are aware of one of the best young big men on the market. He's restricted free agent, right?
He is. So, yeah, Jalen Duren, the starting center for the Detroit Pistons, who had a career year this last year. To refresh your memory, averaged 19.5 points to go with 10.5 rebounds on 65% shooting. It was very good, very big part of the Detroit's regular season success. Flamed out in the postseason. I think one could argue, and this was my argument for Detroit, your secondary all-star type player can't just be a center that is reliant on others to create for him. He's a very good center, but you just can't be the second option. So didn't have a good postseason, and it seems that he and the Pistons, by all accounts, are very far apart. For those who don't remember, with restricted free agency, he can go and get a qualifying offer. The Pistons have the first right to match whatever it is, so we'll see exactly what he can go and get. But it seems like he is trying to get his way out, and the two teams that have been named, Sacramento Kings, which would be a sign and trade that would send Domantas Sabonis to Detroit. And he also has a meeting with the Lakers.
So would the Lakers be a sign and trade?
I don't know. Because, yes, it would be, but I just wonder what the pieces that would be. Because DeAndre Ayton opted into his option, too.
Yep.
And it's not like a lot, but still, it's something. So you do wonder what they would do at center. And I believe, I am 90% sure I'm right on this, Jackson Hayes is still on the roster as well, and Hayes is the preferred option for Luka Doncic to the point where, did you see what Jackson Hayes did? He has like some tertiary connection to Luka's from Latvia, if I remember correctly. Jackson Hayes is now Latvian somehow, and now can play for the national team with Luka.
What?
So he loves Jackson Hayes.
What does... Because I'm intrigued by the Kings getting involved and potentially stealing Jalen Duren from the Lakers. What does Sabonis do for the Pistons?
I mean...
Do you like Sabonis anymore?
I think he's a little bit more versatile in what he can do. He's a little bit more offensive-oriented. I think he can create a shot a little bit better. Now, he's not stretching the floor by any means at all.
I think he's also a really interesting guy when I've watched the games where I'm like, the offense is running a lot through Sabonis.
Yeah.
So would that be what they would use him for at times with the Pistons?
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
Take the ball out of Cade Cunningham's hand?
Yeah, that's to me is going to be like the curious part about it overall, which is just, like percentage of shots that you're hitting. Like how much is assisted on, how much isn't, and what you're doing as a creator. And I think that's part of the problem with a guy like Duren. 65% of his shot attempts were assisted on last year. You need a guy who can at least like do a little work on your own, and Sabonis can do that to an extent. But he's not going to be the answer by any means. They need another ball handler. They need Kyrie Irving, which I hope they go get.
Kings had Zach LaVine opt in.
I mean, yeah, they were going to.
49 mil.
The Kings are ridiculous. I mean, what are you going to do? That team's such a ridiculous. And Darius Acuff, we'll see if he's a good player, but it's such a Kings type fit. It's just like, go ahead, kid, green light. Whatever you want to do.
Probably.
All you.
Yep. We need a star. We need scoring.
Yep.
We need young scoring. We need someone young.
Yeah, so please just go take 25 shots a game. We'll be fine. And that's all we need.
In the bag?
Stick your hand in there, Dave.
I don't know how much you guys at VSiN actually cover gambling stories. It would seem like it would be the home of gambling stories.
Who?
Malik Beasley? Ed Davis?
Yeah. I mean, well, you assumed that they were going to be...
I mean,
this terminology is indicted, correct? That was no, not today. They were... what did they do today? What's the term?
Indicted on federal charges
right.
for gambling related to a sports betting scheme.
Yeah. You're kind of waiting for it to come down, but we'll see. Beasley is very adamant, and his people, that he's innocent. You don't believe him?
No, I'm just... What does this do for gambling conversations about the NBA and again, we're going to go back to this whole prop bull crap. We only got like 20 seconds left here, but
it does nothing.
The Major League Baseball Players Association wants to get rid of props. Like, cut it out.
Yeah. People are just going to complain and say that everything's fixed when the reality is that's just not true.
And it's now policed more closely than it's ever been policed. That's why legal sports gambling is good.